800-215-2418. 800-215-2418. 800-215-2418. That's 800-215-2418.
WGSX Lynn Haven, WTOT, W271DM Mariana, WVLQ Port St. Joe, ESPN Northwest Florida. It's the next evolution of Sports Talk Radio. The biggest stories and the biggest reactions.
Now.
And now, we're taking...
With the first pick.
This is the last ball you got in the bag.
The Inside Drive. From college to the pros. Interviews with the newsmakers, sports betting, your phone calls, and more. And now, The Inside Drive with Ryan Mulvey. Broadcasting from the Bill Kramer Chevrolet Buick GMC and Kramer Marine Outdoor Studios on ESPN Northwest Florida.
And good Friday morning to the Florida Panhandle out there, Bay County, Panama City Beach, and beyond. Hope everybody had a great time at Gulf Coast Jam last night. If you went, hopefully you're not too hungover, and maybe you'll be able to go back again today. But you are listening to Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida, sitting inside the Bill Kramer Chevrolet Buick GMC and Kramer Marine and Outdoor Studios. You can listen live on local on 104.3 Panama City Beach, 101.9 along the Forgotten Coast, as well as 102 up there in Mariana, all the way to Dothan, including Jay's grandma out there in Southwest Georgia. I think she liked the Facebook page yesterday, or the post as well. I think that was Jay's grandma. But yeah, so I appreciate Max Delighted joining me in the studio this morning. Jay is finishing up his junior camp this week, and they got a pizza party, so he couldn't skip out on the pizza party. But you'll be with us till about 12:15, and then Jay will be coming on board. But we got a great show lined up, lots of fun stuff to talk about. NBA, College Softball World Series got underway yesterday, as well as the baseball regional start today as well. You got the Memorial Tournament going on, so lots of fun stuff. We may even talk a little bit about the NFL later on today and ask these guys some awesome questions. But again, Bill Kramer Chevrolet Buick GMC and Kramer Marine and Outdoor. You can find them at 2251 West 23rd Street. If you just head east on 23rd Street, if you're here in Panama City, you cannot miss it. We had him in studio yesterday. Really cool to hear from his brother-in-law, Mike Berger, who basically, Fred Biondi, who won the NCAA individual national championship. He worked with him all the way through his high school years once he came over from Brazil in junior golf, and just cool to hear how much, it's basically like boarding school, so to speak. Yeah. Brings them in, education, golf, but you just live and breathe golf because that's what it takes to play at such a high level. So, but go visit them. They've got great inventory in stock. You can check out their Facebook page, or you can check out their website, including KramerMarineandOutdoor.com. It's got their full line of Seabourn, Spider, and Sundance boats. New and used inventory in there. And then, of course, they are Yamaha Master Certified mechanics on staff. So if your engine needs some work and you need to get back out on the water, you got to give them a call, 850-851-0453. Also, Bay Point Golf Club, got to come out and visit us. It's just another beautiful day out there. The threat of rain was around yesterday. I don't even think it ever rained on the golf course. I know it rained in areas around us. So that's what we always tell people. If you look at the forecast, it says 50%. It may not be 50% on the golf course, because more often than not, we don't seem to get rain out there. But
it's a good place to go today, too, to get away from the Gulf Coast Jam.
Yeah, absolutely. Over there on the east side of the beach on the Bay Point Peninsula, it's funny you say that because it is packed out today. But we still have some tee times available in the afternoon. And, of course, this weekend, I talk about summertime for us. I get people that ask all the time, you're probably the busiest on the weekend. Hey, we do have a caller on the line, and I believe it is Jay and all his junior camp golfers. Jay, how we doing?
Hey, Ryan, good. How you doing?
God, that's that Southwest Georgia right there, if I've ever heard it. Jay, we're doing good. You got all the campers out there with you?
We do. Hey, we want to do a little shout-out. Are you ready?
We are ready.
All right, on three, guys. 1, 2, 3.
ESPN Northwest Florida Inside Drive.
Love it.
What do you think about What do you think about that?
Promo.
That is a great promo. I was a little nervous at first because I thought you were going to get them all to say "Go Dogs," and then I was going to tell David to cut the line. But that was way cooler. Way cooler.
Hey, hold on. I think Michael Shears has a shout out. Yeah, can we get a go dog?
Shouldn't have said anything. Yeah, there we go. Listen to all those boos. That's what I'm talking
Some
about.
smart kids you got.
Yeah, real smart kids out there. Y'all about to
I
get
do
into
have a
that
lot of
pizza?
I do have a lot of Seminoles here. Who's all Seminoles? How many Seminoles do I have? Yeah, I got like 4 or 5.
There you go.
All right, everybody, be quiet, be quiet, be quiet, be quiet, be quiet.
That's a junior
All right.
camp in a nutshell right there.
That's a teacher right there.
But anyways, man, we wanted to give you guys a little shout out this morning and wish everyone a happy weekend. Actually,
Absolutely.
yeah, good weekend.
Beautiful weekend
Yeah.
here in Panama City Beach, and I know you'll be once you guys get through that pizza, you'll be joining us in studio later on, and we'll talk a little bit more about the fun stuff going on in the sports world. But Jay, that was awesome. Thanks for having the kids. Give a big
All right,
shout out
guys.
here to ESPN Northwest Florida and the Inside Drive.
All right, man. All right, we'll see you guys in a bit.
All right, sounds good. Go enjoy some pizza. Now, that was some cool stuff. That's what's so awesome about these junior camps and golf, football, baseball, whatever it may be, volleyball. Ryan was at an open gym this morning doing some volleyball practice. It's not just the learning you're doing, it's the camaraderie that you're developing too with these other athletes and golfers and whatever it may be. Like we mentioned, we were talking to Mike Berger, who was Fred Biondi's instructor, still is his instructor as he continues his career into the pros. But he was talking a little bit about, the kids, they played junior golf all growing up together, and then now they're in college and they're still competing against one another at that high level. And even these junior camps and stuff like that, you just wonder, in 10, 12 years from now, some of those kids may be, playing high-level college golf or maybe moving on to the pros and all that stuff. So,
And they're still referencing I was closer to the pin than you on hole 14.
that's what it's all about. Competition is everything, both in life and sports, and that's what makes you a better person, stronger, and how you handle that kind of stuff. But, we obviously talk a lot about the mental side and coaching and all that a lot here on the Inside Drive. But getting back to the Bill Kramer Chevrolet Buick and GMC and Kramer Marine and Outdoor Studios that we are sitting in, they also have tons of new vehicles in stock. I think I saw a promo that Chris did on their Facebook page earlier today as well. They've got some new trucks in stock that are, as he referred to them, very, very badass, which is pretty cool. I don't know if we're allowed to say that or not, but I did. David wasn't listening, so we're good.
You're good.
Yeah, we're good. We're good. But Max, again, thank you for joining us in the studio today. I know a lot of people know you from the Afternoon Underdog, and I appreciate you filling in last Thursday for me while I was doing some award ceremony.
It was
but
a blast.
tell everybody a little bit about yourself and what you do.
Yeah, I'm over at Allegiant Lending Firm. I moved down here about 2.5 years ago. I actually work with Ryan's wife sometimes as well, and their company, a great company over at Beach House Sales. We do a lot of home financing for people, just trying to help more people in this area become home buyers, offering some programs like our 1% down payment program, which really helps people. And we truly believe, when there's more people buying in the area, a lot more people are giving back to the community as well, rather than renting where it feels like a temporary fix. But yeah, I really appreciate you having me on today. It was fun working with your counterpart last week. Jay's a riot, very organically funny guy.
He is.
I love that.
Yeah, organically funny. That is, I'm gonna have to get him a shirt. It says that on the back of it. That sums him up in a nutshell. That is for sure. A lot of fun stuff to talk about today. Do want to remember Bay Point Golf Club. Don't forget about our local players pass. You can sign up for that too. One of the things that people, when we talk about the local players pass, it's a great deal. We do it once a quarter. You pay a registration fee and you get a free round of golf, and then you play for reduced rates. People are like, well, I'm not going to play that much. That's why the local players pass exists, because if you play twice with the registration fee and the reduced rate, you're saving money. So any more times you play more than twice, it's definitely a great deal we do for locals. But you do have to have a local driver's license in Bay or any of the 5 surrounding counties, or you could be active military with the NSA base as well as Tyndall. Here we got a lot of active military, so we try to take care of our military as well. We are kicking off breakfast next Friday. We have it Saturday and Sunday right now. This weekend, Saturday and Sunday from 8 to 11. Next Friday, we're going to kick it off. We're going to be Friday, Saturday, and Sunday with breakfast at 8 a.m. to 11 a.m., followed by our delicious lunch every day, Monday through Sunday. Almost said Monday through Friday. Monday through Sunday from 11 to 3. And then we've got 2 Sunday brunches with live music with Mark Snaps coming up later this month. One on Father's Day, 6/18, and then the following weekend there on 625. So come out and see us for that. We've also got 2 Thursday night dinners. They are reservations only, but it's open to anybody. You don't have to live in Bay Point or be a member at Bay Point to enjoy Bar 72 and all the awesome things there in the clubhouse. Max, just real quick, your thoughts yesterday on the NBA Finals, kind of as expected, or
I think it was kind of as expected.
Yeah.
I mean, with the numbers that support it, usually a team coming off a series like that or a Game 7, and then another team having, I think it was 10 days of rest.
Yeah, I think it was the 10th day, but
10th day, yeah.
So lots of rest,
and then playing in altitude in Denver, the Heat did look sluggish, but I mean, Bam did better than I expected, honestly, with Jokic. I mean, he made him pass more.
Yeah, he definitely did. And I think, Jokic, like we were talking about before the show, the scary part about him is he can beat you shooting, he can beat you in the post, but he can beat you distributing the ball as well.
Yeah.
And he takes what the defense gives him. And, if they don't give him the opportunity, he's going to dish it out. And we saw that, I think he had 3 shots in the first half, 1 shot in the first corner, but still managed a triple-double. But Jamal Murray, had 18 points in the first half. Aaron Gordon had 14 points in the first half. And Michael Porter Jr. had 10 out of his 14 points all in the first half. So you can see that distribution.
Yeah.
And, you think anything changes in game 2, or you think you see a lot more of the same?
Heat really need it. I mean, obviously they need to split in Denver to have a chance here, but I'm not too optimistic for them. I think it's going to be about a 5-game series. They just don't have the firepower. Denver's so deep, and the matchups really don't favor the Heat whatsoever. I know they've really beat the numbers and the metrics so far, and the spreads and money lines, but in this case, I'm pretty worried for them, especially if you have guys like Caleb Martin and Max Strus putting up pretty much goose eggs. It's going to be a good time.
That's what, because we talked with Doc A. I think that was on Wednesday. We're going to have him again at 12:20 today. He's going to give us an in-depth recap of Game 1 and what he thinks the rest of the series will look like. I did a two-team, and the one guy I had, I think he made 3 points. I think that was Caleb Martin. I don't know if that sounds about right.
Yes,
but
sir.
So can't have some of your bigger players just not putting up any numbers and expect to win. I think it was, they hung in there pretty good, ended up only being an 11-point game. Got it within, single digits a couple times in that, third and fourth quarter. But then, like you said, I think Denver's just too strong overall as a team. And it's just, you're going to have to play. The Heat are going to have to play their best game to win. And the Nuggets are going to have to play kind of a mediocre game.
Yeah,
and I don't know if the Nuggets have that mediocre game in them or not.
No, I agree. They just have too many guys who can step up.
Yeah. And that's how you win championships. That's for sure.
And a walking triple-double doesn't hurt either.
A walking triple-double. I like that.
I've just never seen a big man like Jokic who can slow the game down like that and really direct traffic. I mean, he just looks like he's totally lost sometimes, then he tomahawks a shot over you.
I've seen it, but it's normally just OGs out there on the at the rec center or something. You know what I mean?
Over at Frank Brown.
Yeah.
And it's not the guys you want slowing the game down.
No, not normally, but some of those OGs, man, they can, put it where they want to, and then and they always use the glass.
That's
Yes,
right.
they do.
That's fundamentally growing up. Use the glass. You got to learn how to use the glass.
Tim
That leads
Duncan.
to long-term success in your basketball careers. I'm going to pivot completely to a very different topic. I know yesterday on the Afternoon Underdogs, they talked about it a little bit, or somebody brought it up. I forget, the whole J.B. Holmes thing. I don't know.
Oh, that was actually Drew, just out of
he was Googling it,
Yeah.
I was going to talk
Great
about it on
question.
the show yesterday, and I want to get Jay's opinion later on, so we may revisit this. But it's been kind of going on around for the last couple days, but J.B. Holmes actually put out a tweet himself talking a little bit about it. But I don't know if you saw this story or not,
Something
Max.
about a scramble.
Yeah, so one of a very kind, I can touch.
Isn't it Calcutta?
Yeah, I can touch a little more deeply into what these tournaments are, because we actually, one of our groups that comes down from Georgia does one of these with us every year, Gary Lowry and his group. It's a 3-person scramble, but you're going out and playing with 2 teams on one hole so you can keep track of the other one. So I think he said it was like a $30,000 Calcutta. And what you do in a Calcutta is you actually bet on teams. You can bet on your own team, or you can bet on other teams, and you get a portion of that pot should that team go on to win or whatever it may be. Well, J.B. Holmes played in one of these. I think it was just outside of Nashville, if I'm not mistaken. But a lot of people were criticizing him because he was under a different name. But according to J.B. Holmes, one of the guys he was playing with it kind of did it as a joke, and everybody was like, "Oh, they put him as some kind of handicap or something like that." Well, there's no handicaps in these tournaments, so it kind of got blown out of proportion. But he said his buddy actually put him down as a +4, which is probably about right. But there's no handicap being used, and he put his name John Bradley kind of he's saying as a joke without his knowledge. That's what JB stands for in JB Holmes. So according to JB Holmes, like, people knew he was going to be playing, and I think it kind of got blown out of proportion. But they ended up, I think, getting withdrawal. I think they ended up having to his team. His team was 21 under after the first day, which was pretty strong. But no one on his team or himself actually bet on his team to win. But I'm sure a lot of other people did. But the whole point I wanted to kind of get to on this, yes, he's a PGA Tour player. He hits the ball a mile. But if you've ever been around one of these Calcuttas, all the guys are good in this stuff. Yeah. They've got ringers. They've got people that, there's a whole nother world of golf that's not professional, that's not amateur, where people just go around betting and winning and doing this kind of stuff.
Like your guy said yesterday, just want to get in your wallet.
That's it. That's it. That's what it's all about. So very interesting story, but I think it kind of got blown out of proportion. JB Holmes was wanting to play in this. I still think they did get disqualified, or they kicked him out of the tournament, which is kind of crazy.
That is wild. And if his name is John Bradley, and that's what his driver license says, then why does and I didn't really have any knowledge of this story yesterday when we were talking about it, but I love the question that Drew brought up, or the topic rather. But if that's what his driver's license says, then there should not be an issue.
Yeah, and I think what they were saying, and they said he had no intention. He was just playing for fun with a friend and did not, attempt to make money at the scramble. They didn't let him participate in the Calcutta once they found out. So I don't think they, got kicked out or anything like that. But they gave the guy that bought their team, they gave him money back as well. So very interesting story out of the golf world. That is for sure. And you got the Memorial Tournament going on right now, and Hideki Matsuyama is currently, there's a name really hadn't heard too much of this year, but really strong round, 7 under par in his second round today, which for the Memorial Tournament and Dublin, up there in Dublin, Ohio at Jack's place, it's a pretty ridiculously good score. So shot even par in the first round. He's currently -7 going into his 18th hole on this round today. He's now +450 to win the tournament, because obviously he's only got a 1-stroke lead over David Lipsky. I haven't really heard that name too much, but a pair of 69s, 3 under par, 6 under for the tournament. And then you got Patrick Cantlay right there at -5. I know when we had Keith on Wednesday, we were talking about the DFS and the daily fantasy sports and all that stuff. That's one of the names that, in addition to John Rahm and Scotty Scheffler, that he was a little cheaper in DraftKings, more of that 10-1 kind of spot to win the tournament. But he's played a great round of golf today. He's -4. He's only 2 back, -5 total for the tournament. And then we talked about him a little bit on Wednesday, but Sepp Straka, he's a Georgia boy. And I always know Sepp Straka because when I was in South Carolina, we used to host a pretty large junior tournament for the state of Georgia, the state of South Carolina, and the state of North Carolina, where all the best boys and girl golfers in the rankings came and played in a team and an individual competition. Well, Sepp Straka, Matt Naismith, a lot of the big names you see now, bigger names on tour, played in that tournament. Sepp Straka and his brother Sam Straka both played in that, and Sepp won it one year. So when I saw him go to Georgia and now seeing how well he's doing on the PGA Tour, still huge value. He's -4. He's 3 under par in his round today with 2 to go. He's 3 back of Hideki Matsuyama. His live odds to win are +5,000. So, it's pretty solid. I think his odds to win prior to that were, I want to say, +10,000 maybe. So still really good value there, getting off to a good start. some of the bigger names, I know Rory McIlroy is having a good round today, but kind of stumbled on his round. I think he had a triple on 18.
Are you a pro Rory guy or anti?
It's funny. My stuff has kind of changed over the years. I used to be when Rory was growing up and he was playing that just super aggressive style of golf. I was a big Rory fan, but he's
got a beautiful swing.
Oh, his driver swing is just ridiculous. And if he could have just putted a little better over the last 3 or 4 years, he would have won a bunch more majors. But I think you're starting to see some of these guys that got real deep into the live, non-live, anti-live stuff starting to take a little bit. It's taken and Rory's even come out and said it's taken a little bit of a toll on him. So,
which I think is so soft.
Yeah,
I think that's so ridiculous. I think that's such a cop out for me. I don't know if you listened when I was on with Jay. I told him I had a bet that I made in college, and it was that Rory won't win a major. And it was like every year he doesn't win a major, I was getting $50.
Gotcha.
And I still have that going until he. Well, so it was a 2-year bet, and so I got $100, and then every year after that, the bet still goes until he wins a major.
I need to know who that guy was. I want to play some bets with him. That's for sure.
For me, I don't know, man. I love Rory's golf swing, and I'm not as big into golf as you are, but I love to follow it. It's very fascinating to me, and I think the whole Live PGA divide is pretty funny. I'm sure with your golf background, you're probably not the biggest fan of the Live, if I had to guess.
Actually, surprisingly, I walk both sides. I think it's good for golf,
and it raised the purses in golf and made the PGA where the PGA kind of has a little bit of that elitist.
There was some serious hypocrisy going on with Monahan and the PGA Tour, and Phil had been talking about it for years, and it finally, once the Live Tour happened, all of a sudden they've got these elevated purses, and there's definitely a little bit of hypocrisy in there. But we do have a break coming up. I want to talk a little bit more about golf before we jump into some of the collegiate stuff going on. You've got your baseball regionals getting underway today, the softball World Series, although I think that final game got postponed due to weather. We'll talk a little bit about that coming up as well, but you are listening to the Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. We'll be right back.
Attention, please. ESPN Northwest Florida reminds you it's the law. It's the law. When there's a double red flag, stay out of the water, stick your toes in the sand, grab a cold drink, and listen to live sports.
Swung on, miss, strike 3.
On 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Double play!
Good morning. This is Joanna on ESPN Northwest Florida with your weather forecast on this Friday. Partly sunny this afternoon and evening with a gentle breeze out of the northeast around 10 miles per hour and temps near 85. We will have clear skies and a wind speed of 5 miles per hour tonight and be warm at 72. And mostly sunny tomorrow and a high 85 with a light breeze. Mostly sunshine Sunday with a temp of 84. This forecast is brought to you by Earthworks of Northwest Florida. Thank you for keeping that dial on ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
The road is yours this summer in a new Kia from Bill Bird Kia. Stop by and check out the Bill Bird Kia SUV family that is built for all-in adventures and endless possibilities. Whether you're traveling on the highways or off-road, you'll do it with grace and grit. Now offering 3.25% APR up to 48 months on the purchase of a new 2023 Kia Sorento. You'll get the perfect balance of comfort and safety and technology. Bill Bird Kia is the home of the 20-year, 200,000-mile warranty. Stop by and see us today at 2435 East 15th Street or anytime at BillBirdKiaPanamaCity.com. We'll treat you like family and give you the peace of mind that you can trust.
Offer from Kia Finance for the purchase of a new 2023 Kia Sorento with $22.22 per month per $1,000 finance at 48 months. Quantities limited. No down payment required. Cannot be combined with other finance offers. The 20-year, 200,000-mile warranty is a Bill Bird Kia warranty. See dealer for complete details. Offer for well-qualified buyers. Must take delivery from dealer stock through 7/5/23.
Back to the Inside Drive with Ryan Mulvey from the Bill Kramer Chevrolet Buick GMC and Kramer Marine Outdoor Studios.
It's alive! Look alive!
We're alive!
On ESPN Northwest Florida.
Open up the champagne.
Pop. We are back. You're listening to the Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. And Every time we come out of a break, I'm excited. Now, I know some of the songs are, our opening and then our afternoon delight at noon, but I never know what you're going to play. So it's just, when you're in the mood and you're listening to music, and with Apple Music, it'll kind of pull a song that's similar. That's how, and you get excited because you don't know what's going to happen. And that's how I feel when you bring us in on our coming out of our breaks with the music. So
it gets you going for the segment, man.
Music is so important for everything. I mean, that's why, when we didn't yesterday, but a lot of my youth teams, when we practice, we listen to music. When we practice, we listen to music before the games and all that kind of stuff because, music, it gets in your body and it gets you going. So we appreciate you bringing the heat every time we're coming out of the breaks with some good music. But you are listening to the Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. We are sitting inside the Bill Kramer Chevrolet Buick GMC and Kramer Marine and Outdoor Studios. Don't forget, it's Friday, so coming up on the afternoon underdogs, you've got the Bay Breeze Bait and Tackle Fishing Report. Tim Braddock was live every Friday at 4:20 p.m., and I know the Gulf has been hot lately. We were talking about the tarpon running. Hopefully you guys talked to him a little bit about that this afternoon because I know Chris Kramer and Greg Gladden were talking about it, and they're moving through, and you don't have to go very far off the coast to hit those tarpon. Now, it may take you a while to get a bite because they are tricky, but not very often they're coming right through our area.
Right. Don't let them cut your line either.
Yeah, don't let them cut your line. Hopefully you can land it. And I know Greg, Captain Greg, he does a little fly fishing for tarpon as well, which is very, very difficult, which would be a really
fly fishing for tarpon.
Yeah, you got to have some serious tackle on them, but you can make it happen. A lot of times you'll fight for a while, and more often they'll spit it or they'll come off it because they shake so much coming out of the water. But that's just what's such a cool thing about our area too. Not only obviously the golf, but the beaches and the sports and all the things coming, but all this just water stuff is just so cool, and it's such a big part of that. So with that being said, if you need to get your boat fixed up or you need a boat, you got to visit Kramer Marine and Outdoor over there at 2251 West 23rd Street. We were talking a little bit about LIV, PGA, and you kind of, I'm a proponent for LIV. I think it's good for golf. I think the more people talk about golf, the more people go out and play golf, which benefits our business for sure. Just the more it's in the more its stories are out there, the better that it is. Ryder Cup. That's going to be coming up here soon. It's a big topic right now. Rory came out yesterday. I know David asked Alan Watson from Golf Plus yesterday. Great question about what Rory said. And he kind of walked the same path as Jon Rahm did, saying that, it's for their country. It has no tour affiliation. They want the best players in the world. But it was funny. He didn't have the same sentiment about the team he's on, which is the European team. Obviously, he said Brooks should be on the USA team. And I think in the spirit of competition, and I think that's why Jon Rahm probably said the same thing, is they want to play the best players. Right. They don't want to play the Ryder Cup, which is arguably one of the biggest historic USA versus European sporting events in our lifetime. Just such an awesome event. So they don't want to go out there and play against a team that's got a couple guys that really have no business being out there. Right. What are your thoughts on that, Max?
No, I agree. I mean, it shouldn't be boxing out any of the... I mean, you want to be the best, you got to beat the best. So get the best people out there. Who's your Team USA lineup right now?
I know they're
I know it's early.
Yeah,
so.
they've got the automatic qualifiers,
right.
And then you got the captain's pick, but which is crazy.
But I guess if you could pick,
if I could pick right now, USA guys, obviously I'm going to put Brooks Koepka there at the top because I think he's one of the hotter guys. You got him, Scotty Scheffler. Then it starts getting a little interesting who you're going to pull because now you're thinking match play. Ryder Cup's completely different than these individual stroke play guys. So I think you take some of these guys in consideration. Like, everybody hates Patrick Reed, and he's a LIV Tour guy now. But God darn it, he's good golfer, in match play, and he gets under your skin. And, what are you going to put? What is your end?
Don't leave him and like Brooks in a room or something. Don't hang out.
Yeah. I mean, and then, guys like DeChambeau, do you pull any of those guys in? I'm going to look up the Ryder Cup rankings while we're talking because I'm curious to see where it stands.
I would like to see DeChambeau on there.
Yeah. So right now, that's just crazy that Brooks Koepka is in second in Ryder Cup rankings, and he's literally played in only 2 events that are qualifiers because he finished second and then won. Yeah, that's what you. So Scotty Scheffler obviously is well ahead of everybody when it comes to Ryder Cup rankings, but then you got Brooks Koepka, Max Homa, Xander Schauffele, Patrick Cantley, Cameron Young. Those are the 6 top guys right now that would automatically get in. Then you've got Jordan Spieth, Sam Burns, Colin Morikawa, Justin Thomas. He rounds out the top 10. Then you got some other guys in there that, be good. Will Zalatoris really hadn't heard a whole lot about him right now.
What's been up with him?
He's been injured a lot, so I think he just hasn't gotten back from that. I know he had some back issues.
He's kind of a twig, too.
Yeah,
so.
He is. He's a little fella, the caddy for Happy Gilmore. But, he was so close to winning a couple times. You really wanted it to happen.
Can you imagine playing around putting like how he does?
It's crazy. Yeah, I couldn't imagine playing around in general like he does. But hopefully he'll come back. But guys like Justin Thomas, they're not super hot right now. Playing okay golf. He's number 10 in the Ryder Cup rankings right now. But that's where like a guy like, do you pull in a guy like Dustin Johnson who's played in all these Ryder Cups and has a really strong record in Ryder Cups.
And he's a pretty funny post.
Yeah,
if you win.
Yeah, God, he gets hammered, and then his interviews are just hilarious.
You just see Brooks laughing in the background.
That's why you love the Ryder Cup too, because it's just real. It's real emotion. They're playing for their country. They're playing for each other.
It humanizes them for sure.
Yeah, and you see them kind of let their hair down a little bit, and I think that's why there is some people that do enjoy the LIV Tour, because it's more of that laid back, have fun, but also play some serious golf at the same time.
Well, for Dustin too, you can't have any off golf course injuries again.
Yeah, you got to watch out for those stairs and lifting your kids. It's a whole nother ball game. But Ryder Cup's different because you've got to pair these guys up together, and they play 4-ball and they play foursomes, which, when you're playing a true alternate shot and you're relying on what the other people do, that's some serious pressure. And you've got to have some serious camaraderie and play really well golf together. They're not used to playing golf as a team together.
Yeah, it's such an individual sport.
Such an individual sport once you come out of college that, there's so many factors to look at when it comes to the Ryder Cup.
What about a good strategy of pairing Bryson and Cantlay? Just the slowest round of golf of all time.
Yeah. Man. I was talking to, it's funny you say Cantlay because he's obviously having a good tournament, but was talking to in a group text earlier talking about Patrick Cantlay, and he's obviously really, really slow when it comes to golf.
Yeah.
But nobody ever gets penalized on the PGA Tour, which I think at some point because really actual golf rules, according to the USGA, you've got 40 seconds to hit each shot. That's your time limit. Which
I would love to see a shot clock up.
Oh, I mean, Patrick Cantlay, he went like 2 minutes on one. But then the second piece of it is maintaining your pace. Mm-hmm. So they set a pace of play guidelines or rules for all these tournaments. But they all play not super fast, but when you get out of position, typically you get one warning to get back into position. If you're not back into position, you get penalized a stroke. Then if you get one more time, it can be a major violation, which is 2 strokes or loss of a hole in match play. And then if it happens again, you can get DQ'd from the tournament. Oh. That happens in junior golf, college golf. That stuff's real in that. It just never happens on the PGA Tour because that would be really bold to try to make that happen. But I think at some point it's going to have to, because some of these rounds are just grueling.
Yeah, I would probably break golf etiquette if Patrick Cantlay was playing ahead of me and hit a drive into him.
Well, he doesn't care either. That's the thing.
I know.
He takes all this criticism and he's like, I don't care. I'm just going to keep playing the golf. But so until they penalize him, it's not going to change.
Like, just playing around with him would suck.
Oh, God, it'd be brutal.
I was at Nature Walk one time, and this guy hit in front of this other guy. There was a par 3 or whatever. The guy hit the ball back at him.
I've seen that many a time for sure.
What's the craziest thing you've seen working at Shark's Tooth or Bay Point as far as...
I'm going to go back to when I was at Mount Vintage in South Carolina. Okay. Luckily, nothing bad happened, but there was this guy, he was playing with his kids. He was a member, and he had one of his little kids with him, and we had, you call them comfort stations, but the restrooms out of the golf course. Yeah. And he stopped in, he went in, left the little one in the cart, and then when he came back out, he saw the cart going into a pond right there. Luckily, got the kid out quick enough, and then the golf cart was completely underwater. So just the roof of the golf cart you could see in the pond. And this was in the middle of the winter, so the pond was very, very cold. But luckily, he was able to see and grab the kid and get him out, because you just don't know what's going to happen. That's what's scary. That's why I always say, if you've got little kids in your cart and you get out, either take the key out, put it in neutral, whatever it may be.
Have them come with you,
or do that. But stuff you don't really think about. But
he was watching the clubs, man.
That's true. Somebody's got to watch the clubs.
His caddy.
Yeah, he's out in the middle and nowhere.
What about the biggest conflict that you've seen?
Man,
I'm sure you've seen some pretty funny stuff.
Tournament based?
It's not always tournament based. A lot of times, it can be trespassing based. I've seen, that's probably the biggest conflicts I've dealt with and seen on golf courses.
People walking on the course.
Well, people walking on the course, doing stuff out there they're not supposed. And I've seen that everywhere.
Harder to kick off. People trying to get free rounds or people fishing.
People the free rounds, they're usually more embarrassed that they got caught.
Yeah.
Fishing, it's more like, hey, just go find another pond. That kind of stuff. You know?
Do you ever see people just trying to net out golf balls too that aren't playing, that just walk on? And
Yeah, a lot of our Earl, our old teaching pro, 86 years old, that's what he does when he's waiting for his next lesson. He's out there hawking balls trying to. But what he does is he usually gives them to kids or people and that kind of stuff. But we have divers come out and do our ponds as well. So I tell everybody that's taking a ball out, it's 10 cents. We get 10 cents for every ball in the pond that gets paid back to us from those divers. But that's something I would never, ever do. Get in a pond that you can't
Florida,
see, water moccasins, snapping turtles. We got a few gators, but not too many. But
I'm from Chicago. That's a lot safer.
Yeah.
Have y'all had any accidents with the divers and snakes or anything?
No, we haven't. Knock on wood.
There, Ryan, come on.
Gosh, no, I'd be the one that would get attacked by something.
I did have a question about alternate shots. So when you're playing with someone else, do you try to hit the next shot? Do you talk with your partner on where would you like me to place this, or about where would you like to hit your next shot from?
Oh, there's tons of strategy, especially at that level in alternate shot, because it's just like playing your own game where you're trying to hit certain spots on the green, certain angles to the fairway. So yeah, they're definitely it's two brains working together as one. Now you don't always hit it where you're trying to hit it, so that's a different story, but alternate shot is one of the toughest formats to play in my opinion. We do a lot of tournaments where we do modified alternate shot, where that means both players tee off, you select the best drive, and then you alternate from there. When I was at Coastal Carolina, I didn't play on the golf team, but my freshman year, they still have it today. It's called the Directors Cup. You've got Coastal Carolina and Clemson. They play a Ryder Cup tournament against each other every year in the spring, and I was lucky to qualify for that Directors Cup team my freshman year. And I remember true alternate shot. We played it just like the Ryder Cup was a real format, and I remember we're trying to figure out who's going to work well together and all that kind of stuff on such short notice. But it's a lot of pressure when you're playing your own ball trying to make a good score. But when you got somebody else that's relying on you and you hit a bad shot, I think that adds more pressure on.
Putt or something.
Yeah, absolutely.
What about a Bay County style Ryder Cup where you get members from each club and build a team and then y'all all battle it out?
It's funny you say that because the Florida State Golf Association has the FSGA Interclub right now.
Okay.
And we participate we're in a group up here, and it's us, Santa Rosa, Shark's Tooth, and
Windswept in there?
I don't think Windswept's in there. Who's our fourth team? I'm forgetting. I'm just drawing a huge blank right now.
Kelly Plantation.
No, Sandestin's got their own Kelly Plantation. They've got one over there in Destin as well. God, I can't believe I'm drawing a huge blank on this,
Legacy.
but yeah, it's us. No, I don't think they're in it. But it's cool. And I got to give kudos to Santa Rosa's membership. They've got some serious players over there. They've won it the last 2 years out of ours. And it's cool because you go from the little local and then you move on to the regional. And then if you go to the regionals, you go to the state finals down at Streamsong, just south of Lakeland. And Streamsong's just an awesome facility.
That's really cool that they do that.
Yeah.
Though.
But I kind of like where your head's at, creating some kind of Ryder Cup match that we can figure out.
You got the Panama Country Club, Bay Point, Legacy. There's so many right in this direct vicinity. That could be.
Or we could just get some, Panama City versus Panama City Beach, and we have tryouts, and we do a battle of the bridge. Yep. This is good. This is good brainstorming stuff, David. I like this.
Can't give it all the stuff away though.
Yeah. No, that's true. That'll be awesome.
Don't be humble. What would Jay and you shoot alternate ball at Bay Point?
Alternate shot?
Alternate shot.
Modified alternate shot or true alternate shot?
True alternate.
I think
whose driver y'all using the most?
That's the problem. Is it's alternate.
It's not modified.
Not modified.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So okay, I say I'm teeing off on all the odd holes, you're teeing off on the even hole. That's another thing, too. When you pick who goes first in an alternate shot, you kind of got to think about the layout of the course. Like, do I want to be the one hitting a shot on number 2, or does Jay? I would probably be hard-pressed. If we shot even par in a true alternate shot, I think that would be really, really good.
Nice.
As long as Jay's teeing off on some of the tougher driving holes.
Really?
I can hit the ball a long way, but I don't always know where it's going. So, but now a modified alternate shot, I would say we might be able to sniff a couple under par just because you've got that flexibility of choosing the tee shot, and that helps especially on the par threes.
Would you shoot better on a more open course, like say like Windswept, do you think, or do you think Bay Point?
I grew up in the Northeast, so I love the old Parkland style golf courses where you're tree lined and you've got holes are all right next to each other. So if you block a big driver but hit it far enough to the right, you've still got because I hit the ball really high. Yeah. So you've got a chance to hit it back onto the green. But I actually a more tighter course, like Windswept, which is a great golf course. Yeah. It's so open that sometimes I feel like you lose that, where you're trying to hit to.
A lot of forgiveness.
Yeah, and sometimes when you feel like you got a lot of forgiveness, you get a little loose in your golf swing. And but yeah, Windswept's an awesome track. It's the one we probably recommend the most to our guests that don't want to travel too far to like Destin and stuff like that. So, but great question. Maybe I know we've talked about. I think we might have talked about it, but us four with Jay going out and doing a two-person scramble match.
We have to split up Jay and you.
Yes. Yeah.
Just saying.
Yeah, that'd be, unless we were giving you guys some strokes for sure.
No, I'd rather switch it up.
No, that'd be good. Yes.
I love you, Dave, but I don't think we can be teammates.
And,
what are we looking at? We're sniffing maybe a couple over or under 100.
Yeah, but we got to make that happen. That'd be fun because I do like playing against Jay because just as I poke fun him in the studio when we're out there on the golf course, maybe have a couple beverages. We'll have a lot of fun on that one. But yeah,
got some good Bloody Marys out there.
Yeah,
too,
the Gary's Mary, you can't beat it. And then you got Desi and Christy and all the rest of the crew out there on the beverage carts doing a wonderful job keeping everybody hydrated. It's just kind of funny how that goes hand in hand. Libations and golf seem to go definitely hand. Even on the tour with John Daly and some of these other guys.
There's a good middle you can hit.
Yeah, but it's like I've said on the show before.
Events.
It's a curve. It's a curve. If you can find that top when you're not thinking and you're subconsciously playing golf and have lots of confidence, you can play some good golf. Yeah. But as soon as you start down on the other side of that curve, that hand-eye coordination, it goes to pot.
The give-a-dang is busted at that point, too.
Yep, yeah. And then you stop caring, and it's funny, we call it, swing lube or whatever it may be, and, you do 9 and 9s, and you bring out some hunch punch to all the couples playing it and all that stuff. So just, it's funny how that all works together.
Adam Golf says we need an ESPN radio golf outing.
I think he said that yesterday too. Hey, we'll talk to the station owner, and if he wants to sponsor it, we'll make that happen.
Have Randy officiate it.
There we go.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think Randy told me he would fund that too.
Perfect. Well, hopefully he's listening. So
yeah, Randy.
Well, the ESPN Northwest Florida golf outing. We'll make that happen right there at Bay Point Golf Club. So far, we've talked about golf this whole time. When we jump back into it, I want to touch a little bit about college softball and baseball as it is underway and getting going. You're listening to the Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida, listening live and local on 104.3 in Panama City, 101.9 along the Forgotten Coast. Check us out on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Just search ESPN Northwest Florida. Who knows what song Dave will bring us back into this next break, but we're looking forward to it. We'll be right back.
Only 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida could bring sports fans like you and at this powerful. The sports content you crave is always on. Live stream us everywhere you go. Now with upgraded programming and live game schedules, you'll always know when the Atlanta Braves and your favorite games are playing. Plus, interact with our local hosts in real time and so much more. The new app for the sports fanatic is available at the Apple Store and Google Play. From 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Young Cycle across from FedEx Mosley Drive in Lynn Haven has a fantastic selection of pre-owned Harleys at great prices. Great prices. Don't buy a Harley until you stop by Young Cycle. Young Cycle, a full service department is available too, offering motor trike conversions, parts, and accessories. Nothing compares to Harley-Davidson and the low prices on pre-owned Harleys at Young Cycle. Young Cycle, 112 Mosley Drive across from FedEx in Lynn Haven.
Ben and Deb Collins, owners of Bay Guns and Gear, have been in business since 2010, offering new firearms and accessories with a huge selection available for your hunting needs and personal defense. Turn to Bay Guns and Gear. They have the weapon for you. Discount pricing. And if you can't find what you're looking for, they'll special order it for you. Bay Guns and Gear, across from Grease Pro at 3115 Highway 77. Visit their website, baygunsandgear.com.
Take your next adventure in an award-winning Kia from Bill Bird Kia. The SUV family has movement that inspires, and we invite you to test drive the new 2023 Kia Soul, Seltos, Sportage, Sorento, or Telluride. You can command the road in a sedan from Bill Bird Kia. Drive away today in a new 2023 Rio, Forte, K5, or Stinger, and discover the all-new Kia at Bill Bird Kia. 2435 East 15th Street, Panama City, or anytime at BillBirdKia.com. Peace of mind you can trust at your local community dealer, Bill Bird Kia.
The only place to get sports betting coverage on the radio. Is this legal? Broadcasting from the Bill Kramer Chevrolet Buick GMC and Kramer Marine Outdoor Studios. It's the Inside Drive with Ryan Mulvey on ESPN Northwest Florida.
Are you ready? Oh, is you ready? Ready? You say you ready? Oh, whole squad ready? Ready?
And welcome back. This is a good one, David. This is one that gets the kids fired up, that's for sure. You're listening to the Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida, sitting inside the Bill Kramer Chevrolet Buick GMC and Kramer Marine and Outdoor Studios. Also, don't forget about South Oak Title and Closing, 20 locations across the country, but 4 right here along the Florida Panhandle. You've got 1 in Panama City Beach, 1 on 30A, 1 in Destin, and 1 up there on Highway 77 in Lynn Haven. And I know Beach House Sales Development is a big supporter of South Oak Title and Closing, as they are of Beach House Sales and Development. And they had a awesome May. They had 5 closings the last day of the month, and I'm not sure if all 5 of them were at South Oak, but a majority of them were there at South Oak. Max, I appreciate you joining me in studio this morning. And one more time, tell us a little bit about who you are. I know you got the Mortgage Minute with Max in the afternoon, and just one more time, tell everybody.
Yeah, thanks, Ryan.
Yeah.
Well, I'm with Allegiant Lending Firm over in Panama City. We cover all the way from Pensacola to down the Forgotten Coast. Really trying to help people purchase homes in the area in Bay County, Gulf, Walton, all of them. And we do offer better rates than most people around here, just being third-party originators. Our lenders give us discounts based on what you see on the market. Like if you're seeing a 7% right now, it's probably closer to 6.25% with us. But yeah, it's been great working with this area, and there's so many realtors in this area, as you know. I'm sure, you live it, so it's been great, and I love it. So if you want to reach out, 850-565-1160.
Well, and that's one thing, too. This area is definitely a little different than other areas of the country. Everybody's worried about slowing down and home sales and all that. There's 1,000 people moving to Florida every day. And Panama City Beach not only is a great single-family home destination, but it's also an investment market. So you've got 2 sides here in Panama City Beach, Panama City, 30A, Lynn Haven, all that good stuff.
When will your guys' home be done? It's
hopefully,
a beautiful home.
Yeah, hopefully here in the next month or so. That's
great.
If anybody from Florida Power and Light is listening, we need to get that moving a little bit faster. So
good luck.
Yeah, that's definitely the challenge. I'm not going to be going after Florida Power and Light for a sponsorship, that's for sure. But
well, you won't get a hold of them.
No, that's
just kidding.
We love you, Florida Power and Light. My superintendent's calling me. He's probably not paying attention to what time it is. Hopefully, it's nothing major. But jumping right into the College World Series, you were talking earlier about Oklahoma only had 1 loss this season. The overwhelming favorite to win the Women's College World Series, which I think would be back to back potentially, trying to set the tone for Georgia in college football. But Stanford gave them a tough game yesterday. They only won 2-0. I say only. A win's a win. It really doesn't matter what that score is.
Didn't get run ruled.
Yeah, didn't get run ruled. Then the other game we talked about while we were live on the air yesterday, that was Tennessee and Alabama. Tennessee got the win in that one, 10-5. They got a hot start. I think they scored 6 runs in the 3rd or 4th inning. And then last night you had the second bracket. You've got 2 brackets. They play the double elimination, and the winner out of each bracket goes to that College World Series final. It was a lot of weather delays going on last night.
Is that why Washington game got delayed? I was going to ask you.
Yeah, so the Florida State game was delayed for about an hour and a half or so. Florida State ended up winning that one 8-0 over Oklahoma State. They played really, really well, even coming out of that break. So that one ended in 6 innings, and then not enough time to play that Washington-Utah game, which is going to be coming up today at 12 o'clock, actually, here in about, 10 minutes or so.
He bet it as I walked in, but my boss wanted me to tell you that he put $20 on FSU plus 500.
Hey, if there's one bet besides Oklahoma, and you'd have to bet the farm just to make some money on Oklahoma, I think Florida State plus 500 is a great pick, because if everything shakes out like it should, now it should in sports is a different story.
Yeah.
Now the Nuggets that should looks like pretty inevitable,
and
but
possibly Oklahoma softball.
Hopefully Florida State, and if Florida State meets Oklahoma in that final series, that would be a heck of a series. And then today you've got a couple games on. You've got the Stanford, Alabama. They're now in the I'm not going to say the losers bracket, but the elimination side of the bracket. They're going to play.
It is the losers bracket.
It is the losers bracket. That's true. Thank you, David.
Bama lost.
That is. They're a loser. So is Stanford.
Yeah.
They're both losers.
What did that final score end up being with Oklahoma and Stanford?
Just 2-0.
That is not bad for Stanford.
No.
Which is not good for Alabama.
No, not necessarily. But maybe Montana Fouts is on the mound for this game tonight. I am not sure, but I'm going to assume she didn't play in the game yesterday, so I'm assuming she's going to be the starter for tonight's game. And if they end up losing, it could be her last. It will be her last collegiate game in Alabama. She's an unbelievable college pitcher. She's done well in the Olympics, and Alabama was lucky to have her for as long as they did and all that.
I had a question for you about tonight's game too. So if for the Washington-Utah game, does the loser have to play tonight too then? Like, do they have to do a doubleheader?
Yeah, so 12 o'clock our time that Washington, Utah will play their game that was supposed to be played yesterday. The loser of that game will have to play tonight against Oklahoma State at 8:30 Central Time.
Man, that stinks. Could deplete the bullpen a little bit.
Yeah. Well, and softball and a lot of the series during the year, they'll play a lot of double headers. It's the pitching and stuff is not quite as crazy as the baseball side of things. They can pitch a little bit more, and you'll see
more natural.
Yeah, you'll see somebody that might have been a reliever in that game earlier be the starter and vice versa. Mm-hmm. So I don't think it'll hurt them as much. Obviously, rest is always good. So Florida State will play the winner of the Washington-Utah game tomorrow night. Gotcha. So Florida State's got almost 48 hours between those two games, which I think from a softball standpoint is probably good, so you can rest those arms for sure. And then again, Oklahoma State will play the loser of that Washington-Utah game tonight at 8:30 p.m. Great question, too, by the way. That was good stuff. And then Oklahoma will play Tennessee tomorrow at 2 o'clock Central Time. Those are both the winner bracket teams. And then the winner of the Alabama-Stanford game tonight at 6 p.m. will play on Sunday at 2 p.m. against the loser of the Oklahoma and Tennessee game. And then obviously the winner bracket continues on, and Oklahoma's most likely now. Tennessee had played, I forget who they played really tough in the I think that might have, did they play Oklahoma in the Super Regional?
Super Regional was Texas.
Texas, that's right, Texas, and they played pretty good. But yeah, so a lot more cool stuff going on there. That's just so much fun to watch, especially in the World Series. It's fast paced. There's not a lot of breaks in between pitches or innings, and it's just great action. And at this level, just a lot of fun to watch. I know today kicks off the men's baseball side. All the regionals are set to get underway. We'll run through those real quick, and then maybe ask you, Max, who you think is going to come out of that particular regional. We'll start on the we'll call that the left side of the bracket in the Winston-Salem regional. The overall number 1 seed, Wake Forest Demon Deacons. They've got George Mason, Maryland, who won the Big Ten Conference Championship, as well as Northeastern, which Jay learned earlier this week where Northeastern was located, and that's in Boston. So you've got Northwestern in Chicago and Northeastern in Boston. So we're going to do a geography quiz for Jay when he gets back in the show.
Wait till Jay learns about Northwestern State too.
Yeah. We'll educate him on that one. Yeah, his mind will be blown. I don't think he's ever been above that Mason-Dixon line. So one day we'll get him to travel out there. Yeah, that Southwest Georgia twang. That's for sure. What do you think? I mean, Wake Forest coming out of that one.
Yeah, I'm more of a pro baseball fan, being from up north like you. But I would say Wake Forest. I was looking at some value bets today just because I like to look at that stuff. And I feel like Florida's got some value too, just from watching them play. They've got the arms to do it. But
oh yeah, they've arguably got one of the better pitching rotations in college baseball right now. So speaking of Florida, that Gainesville Regional is live and underway with Texas Tech playing UConn. Florida will play Florida A&M later on today at 4:30 on ESPN Plus. But Florida, the number 2 national seed in the tournament. Texas Tech may give them some trouble, but I think it's Florida's regional to advance out of, that's for sure. And then moving over to David's Alabama Crimson Tide. A lot of people were kind of surprised that they're hosting a regional. A lot of people aren't. Number 16 national seed, the last team national seed-wise to get that regional. They're going with Nicholls State, Boston College, and our friends up there at Troy, just north of us here. That one, you may be surprised. I don't think Alabama's the overwhelming favorite to win that. I think Troy could definitely give them some trouble.
Don't say that to Alabama fans.
That's true. What do you think about that one, David?
Of course, I want to see the Tide move on, but we had Chandler Permenter on yesterday with College Baseball Central, and he said, watch out for Boston College. They're one of those sneaky teams that could definitely move on in this regional. I want to see the Tide, but who knows when you get to this point, man.
That's what's so great about college baseball. I was talking to somebody in Bar 72 this morning. I actually didn't even know who he was, but we were talking about sports, and he saw my Coastal Carolina shirt. So then we started to get into college baseball, and that's what's cool at this level in college baseball is really not any of these teams, but I would say 75% of these teams that are in the regionals could go on this crazy run and end up winning a national championship, kind of like Coastal did back in 2016, to kind of put the university back on the, or not back on the map, because nobody really knew about Coastal up until then. So yeah, there you go. If you want to bet regional winners, there's a good bet from you from Chandler yesterday on your show. Take Boston College, the Eagles, to come out of the Tuscaloosa regional. Wonder what those odds are on that one. I'll have to look that up in a little bit. David, our producer behind the glass, will find that out, and we'll keep going. You got South Carolina, the Gamecocks, hosting the Columbia Regional. They've got Central Connecticut, the Campbell Camels. There's another one to potentially put some futures money on to come out of that regional. They've had a really good program all year out there in, I know me and David have gotten that city before, and it's something Fork maybe. I don't remember where they're at, but they're in North Carolina, another good program. So what do you think about that one, the Columbia Regional? I do an annual trip every year to South Carolina. My best friend went there, one of my best friends. Columbia's an awesome college city. Yeah, I got to back the Cox here. There you go. There you go. I spent a lot of time in South Carolina. I worked in South Carolina. I knew a lot of friends that went to South Carolina. So I've actually been on campus and been to many games there. The baseball stadiums down there in the valley in the heat. Just a tough place to play. They won back-to-back national championships, I think late 2000s, early 2010s, if I'm not mistaken. They were a fun fact about South Carolina. They were trying to change their mascot this year because their name, change the name. The name is Sir Big Spur. Gotcha. So not too clever. And they did a student vote, which never ends well. No. And the winning vote by a landslide margin was the Cock Commander. And so they will not be. That was a mistake on their part. Just leave Sir Big Spur. Yeah. But if you've ever been to a Carolina home game, when Cocky comes out of the curtain when they're playing 2001: A Space Odyssey, that's in my opinion one of the better entrances in college sports. Going down to the Coral Gables Regional, the U number 9 national seed with Maine, Texas, and the Louisiana Ragin' Cajuns, who didn't come out of that super regional against Washington, which Jay was a big fan of there. I think Miami's probably got that one, but Louisiana's got a good ball club. They went to the championship. The championship game against Southern Miss in the Sun Belt Conference tournament, ended up beating Coastal Carolina twice to move on to that championship series. I got odds now for each of the regionals. So for the Coral Gables here, we've got Miami minus 121, Texas is plus 185, Louisiana plus 425, and then Maine plus 4,500. Throw a 10 spot on Maine just to see what happens. It might be worth that $450, but I think Louisiana's not a bad bet. You said, I think plus, what'd you say on Louisiana? Not to put you on the spot, David. You're doing a lot of stuff back there. No, you're good. Pick it up, David. I could pull this stuff up myself too if I wanted to. But for Louisiana's plus 4
425. I started looking at the Coastal Carolina odds.
Gotcha. All right. So, yeah, speaking of Coastal Carolina, let's jump right over to that Conway Regional, which gets started it's actually underway as we speak. Well, in about 5 minutes with UNC Wilmington playing Duke. Coastal Carolina, the number 10 national seed, will play 6 p.m. tonight on ESPN+. There'll be no doubt that'll be on the big screen in my house tonight on ESPN+. So what do we got the odds on this one, David?
Coastal Carolina's plus 100, Duke plus 125, UNC Wilmington's plus 650, and then Rider plus 1,700.
Whew. That just goes to show you, Coastal Carolina and Duke basically have the same odds to advance out of this Conway Regional. I know we got our top of the hour break coming up. We'll finish off on these regionals, and then before Max has to go, I've got a couple questions, and I haven't jumped into the SEC schedule yet. So we'll finish these baseball college regionals, then we'll talk about the announcement that came out of the SEC meetings yesterday in regards to the 2024 SEC schedule. A lot of interesting stuff going on in college football. All the precursor leading up to these super conferences, in my opinion. But you are listening to the Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. We've got some afternoon delight coming up as we switch to the afternoon here in the Panhandle. We'll be right back.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
The Dan Patrick Show.
If I were an A's fan, I would start some type of a complete no-show with stadiums empty for the rest of the season.
I think they've already had that protest. Now, the Raiders are out of there. The Raiders moved to Vegas. Now the A's are moving to Vegas. You know, when you go to that stadium, I've only been there once, and I'm sure it didn't get any better.
It's the Dan Patrick Show, weekday mornings from 9 till 11. ESPN Northwest Florida.
Good morning. This is Joanna on ESPN Northwest Florida with your weather forecast on this Friday. Partly sunny this afternoon and evening with a gentle breeze out of the northeast around 10 miles per hour and temps near 85. We will have clear skies and a wind speed of 5 miles per hour tonight and be warm at 72. And mostly sunny tomorrow and a high 85 with a light breeze. Mostly sunshine Sunday with a temp of 84. This forecast is brought to you by Earthworks of Northwest Florida. Thank you for keeping that dial on ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
The new Smokin' Triple Stack at Firehouse Subs is stacked high with honey ham, smoked turkey, and slow-smoked beef brisket. To top it off, a portion of every purchase helps provide life-saving equipment to first responders. The Smokin' Triple Stack Sub. Get it for a limited time, only at Firehouse Subs. Participating U.S. locations, Firehouse of America, LLC, and Firehouse Subs suppliers together will donate 0.09% of purchases in 2023 at Firehouse Subs locations to the Firehouse Subs Public Safety Foundation for the purchase of life-saving equipment with a minimum donation of $1 million.
WGSX Lynn Haven, WTOT, W271DM Mariana, WVLQ Port St. John.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
If it's Western wear for the whole family you're looking for, there's only one place to shop, That Boot Store. The selections are huge and many of your favorite name brands at affordable prices are available. Want the finest in work clothes? Famous Carhartt work clothes are available too. Open Tuesday through Thursday, 9 till 5, and Friday and Saturday, 9 a.m. till 5:30. Next to Kia 15th Street, Panama City. Remember what Joe always said, keep Jesus in your life every day.
The locals love him.
You're gonna love this. You are my favorite. It's my favorite.
Everybody's favorite. The Inside Drive with Ryan Mulvey. Live from the Bill Kramer Chevrolet Buick GMC and Kramer Marine Outdoor Studios. On ESPN Northwest Florida.
Sky rockets in flight. Afternoon delight.
Like I said yesterday, we are probably the only sports talk radio station in the country that has Afternoon Delight bringing you into that second hour if you're a 2-hour program. So I appreciate you, David, bringing us back in with the Afternoon Delight. And, you know, everybody's got a little bit of different Afternoon Delight. Some people may be going out and playing Bay Point Golf Club and enjoying it. Some people may be doing it. Yeah, a lot of people out there today. That brings me to a cool thing we do. After 5 p.m., we do something called the Nick 6. For $35, you can play the first 6 holes on the Nicklaus course. Because, as you know, we don't have a turn out there. Most golf courses have a turn where your 9 holes come back and your 10th hole goes out. We don't. So we don't offer 9-hole rates because of that particular way our golf course laid out. But that $6,000 green kind of comes back close to the clubhouse. You can just jump on the road and come back in. So after 5 p.m., $35, you can play those first 6 holes. And really the first 5 holes are an 18-hole golf course in itself with how challenging they can certainly be. You are listening to Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. We are at the top of the hour. You just heard some afternoon delight. We're talking college baseball. We're going to jump a little bit into the SEC schedule here in a little bit. But we are inside the Bill Kramer Chevrolet Buick GMC and Kramer Marine and Outdoor Studios. Don't forget, you can visit them at 2251 West 23rd Street in Panama City. Just head east on 23rd Street and you cannot miss them. Their inventory is packed out. They've got trucks, SUVs, cars, and more. Trade-in values are still very high for your used car. So if you're looking to make a move and just upgrade and get something new, and all these new vehicles, they're just like a computer on wheels. It's crazy. We have a 2010 and a 2014, and the technology just has changed massively. I get into somebody's truck that's like brand new, and I look at the iPad that's on there, like, oh my gosh, that's crazy. But go check them out, and don't forget about Kramer Marine and Outdoors. It's going to be a beautiful weekend on the water. It looks like that storm is kind of gone south and heading out. Hopefully that's going to suck a lot of the humidity out of our area, and as the winds calm down, the water is going to be absolutely beautiful and gorgeous. And if your boat's not ready to get out there, you need to give Kramer Marine and Outdoor a call at 850-851-0453. They got Yamaha Master Certified mechanics on staff, and they also have Suzuki Motors, and they are a Suzuki dealer, as we talked yesterday on Kramer Day, how Suzuki now just opened their testing facility right here in Panama City, which is pretty cool. You got Mercury and Suzuki, both testing facilities here. All right, let's jump right back into it. We were talking about the regionals. The Coastal Carolina Regional, as David was mentioning with those odds, and I'm going to try to bounce back and forth because it's not in the same order as the bracket. But you have Duke, Coastal Carolina's plus 100, Duke's plus 125. And as my good friend Don Walton just texted me, he said Coastal got a tough draw with Duke in their regional, because if you look at a lot of the other odds, there's, Miami, they're minus 121, Texas is plus at 185. So you can just see within, that's basically the same amount of odds to win that regional. So if Coastal's got a tough task at hand, hopefully they can get it done with Ryder tonight, and then have to face off against Duke. And he also answered the question we were talking earlier about the Oklahoma softball team. They had one loss all year. Yeah. That was to FSU, Florida State. So might be leading up to this this College World Series championship series. I mean, it's not going to get any better than that. That's for sure.
Hey, to Coastal Carolina, real quick, you guys had the second toughest non-conference schedule, and you went 7-6 against top 50 opponents. So that bodes well for this tournament.
That's why we were ranked. So, a lot of people are like, why is Coastal ranked 7th? Why are they ranked 8th? What have they done? But that's exactly right. Their strength of schedule was just very, very difficult. Georgia football could take a playbook out of Coastal Carolina's. We might talk about difficult college football schedules later. I don't know. It depends on how the rest of the day goes. But moving over there to the Stanford Regional. Stanford's the number 9 national seed. They've got San Jose State, Texas A&M, and Cal State Fullerton. What do you got on the odds on that one, David?
We got plus 105 for Stanford. Texas A&M comes in at plus 135. Ooh. Cal State Fullerton at plus 600, and San Jose State plus 1750.
Nice.
I just want to put $1 on all of these plus.
I'm anxious to see when we get to the regional, the Baton Rouge regional with Tulane, who is 19-40. We're going to bounce over to the Charlottesville regional. Virginia looks like they've already won their first game, even though it's the bottom of the third. Army was in their regional, as well as Oklahoma and East Carolina. I don't know what you got odds on that one, David, but Virginia's already out to a 10-0 lead against Army in the bottom of the third.
And Virginia's minus 125. ECU, East Carolina, plus 215. Oklahoma, plus 440. And Army at plus 1850.
Yeah, and going up. Now, East Carolina may not be a bad play.
That's who I took to come out, and I got Coastal Carolina coming out of the Conway because I would love to see a little CCU-ECU battle.
When they won in 2016, I think it might have been the Super Regional when they played East Carolina. I know they beat NC State in the final game in the regional to advance to the Super Regional. It might have been East Carolina. Might have been what TCU and Arizona was in the actual College World Series. But East Carolina, not a bad bet there, David. So I think you're definitely on to something. They may be able to. They got a really good rotation as well. They may have somebody coming out of that. So East Carolina definitely not a bad bet. We'll jump over to, like we just talked about, the Baton Rouge Regional. You got LSU, Tulane, Oregon State, and Sam Houston. Very anxious to hear these odds because Tulane was 19-40 in the regular season, but they made the regional because they won their conference championship, which was a huge upset.
Right time.
Yeah, the automatic bids. All right, Dave, what do you got in this one?
Do we want to get straight to Tulane or do we want to go down the list? We'll start with number 1, the Tigers of LSU, minus 213.
Minus 213. Dang.
Oregon State comes in at plus 265. Sam Houston State at plus 650. And then Tulane.
The Green Wave.
Plus 5,000.
Holy hey, that sounds about sense. Right. Yeah, they really, I don't want to say don't belong there, but yeah, they won their conference championship, and you get at-large bids or you get automatic bids because of that conference championship winners. All right, we'll run through.
Fun fact real quick here. Oregon State travels farther than any other team to their regional, over 2,500 miles.
Whew. Dang. It's a long way, and that's kind of what Jay loves to talk about. That's that Louisiana water and that Pacific Northwest water. We'll see if what Louisiana in the softball side of things didn't pan out, but it may pan out here in this particular regional.
They had mid-quality H2O.
Yeah, mid-quality H2O. But you got 2 Louisiana teams in this one as well, so you got extra Louisiana water going on. Jump over the Nashville Regional. You got the Vanderbilt Commodores, the number 6 national seed. They've got Eastern Illinois, Oregon, and Xavier. What do you got on odds on that one, David?
Minus 186 for Vandy. Oregon comes in at plus 240. Xavier at plus 750. And Eastern Illinois at plus 2,100.
The Jimmy Garoppolo Alumni School,
yeah, baby.
Where he played. There you go. There you
That's
go.
My guy.
Jimmy G. He may not be an Oakland Raider here pretty soon if he can't pass that physical, but
he will not because he's a Las Vegas Raider if he's going.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
I always say Oakland
that's so
too,
hard. It's like Washington Redskins.
Yeah,
I heard something too that the Commanders are going to have to change their name again.
Yes.
Somebody else already had it trademarked.
That could be fun, man. That's I think that's going to happen.
Dave always ribs me too because I always say the Cleveland Indians.
Yeah,
they'll always be the Indians to me because that's who the Cubs beat in the World Series.
What's crazy about it is I would say a large majority of Guardians fans, Indians fans, would still rather than be called the Indians.
Yeah, it's the world we live in. But yeah, interesting, the Commanders, to see what'll happen there. You would think that they're a legal team and they would have found the trademark or whatever.
But it was Dan Snyder, man.
Yeah, that's true. We'll just use the Commanders. We won't do any research. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. All right, real quick, we got the Lexington, Kentucky Regional. Kentucky's the number 12 national seed. That is live as we speak. Kentucky is in the bottom of the 4th with Ball State. What are the, this is an interesting one because it's live. What do you got odds-wise?
Minus 130 for Kentucky, West Virginia plus 215, Indiana at plus 500, and Ball State at plus 1,600.
Plus 1,600, and they're currently tied 0-0
which opens the
in
door,
the bottom of the 4th.
Which opens the door for the plus 500 Indiana Hoosiers, my alma mater. Let's go.
There you go. There you go. Absolutely.
41-38.
Bet the Hoosiers. Kentucky may not be the real deal, and I'm sure you can't bet Ball State because there's a live game right now. But,
and also, who likes Kentucky? Come on.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. Don't ask Schmitty that. He's a big Kentucky guy. But
Indiana 7-11 in conference, 2-4 against top 25 competition.
Yeah, we got ran out the door by Auburn earlier in the year, but we're here. We're ready.
That's the thing about college baseball. It's all about getting hot at the right time. That is what matters. You got to get hot at the right time. All right, the Stillwater Regional. You've got the number 11 national seed Oklahoma State Cowboys, Oral Roberts University, Dallas Baptist, as well as Washington. I know Dallas Baptist is a hot one on David Hayes' radar, and put a couple futures on them. What do we got odds wise in this regional?
This is the closest one that I've seen to this point. If I were to give you a guess, who do you think's the longest shot here? And I can't ask Max because he's back here looking at my computer.
I can't see.
No, I'm kidding.
Oral Roberts.
You're right, 100%. So it goes plus 155 for Oklahoma State, Dallas Baptist at plus 255, Washington at plus 245, and then Oral Roberts at plus 625.
Yeah, those 3 top ones. That's some pretty dang close odds. So that could be a very competitive regional. Washington and Dallas Baptist are underway, top of the 1st. Game just started 0-0 there. This is, if you're a baseball baseball fan or softball fan this week, and it's just such an awesome week.
Yeah, it is.
There's just so much good baseball to watch, and it's college baseball, so you got all the college fan bases diving into it. All right, we just hit that Stillwater. We got the Auburn Tigers. They're hosting their regional number 13 national seed. They've got Penn, Southern Miss, and Samford. I'm going to guess, David, it goes Auburn, Southern Miss, Samford, and Penn.
You're very close.
I switched Samford and
very
Penn.
close. This is very close as well here. Plus 115 for Auburn, Southern Miss at plus 145, Samford at plus 800, and Penn at plus 700.
Gotcha.
It's funny with those Ivy League schools and some of those smaller ones because SEC baseball's so big, and Auburn's played 120 games, 118 games, I think, and
Yep.
Penn's played 44, I think, or 48.
It's definitely interesting. But Southern Miss, they won the Sun Belt Conference Championship. They were kind of going back and forth with Coastal all year on the number 1 seed in the regular season. Coastal ended up edging them out, but got to be pulling for the Auburn Tigers in that one, especially as we are the home of the Auburn Tigers in the fall with football season right around the corner here. Moving on to the Terre Haute Regional. That's Indiana State, the number 14 national seed.
Terre Haute, Ryan.
Terre Haute. So I knew you would correct me on
I'm
that.
saying it wrong too. Then.
Yeah, Terre Haute. Yeah, if Jay was here, we would have asked Jay how to pronounce it. And that would have been good.
Terry Hottie.
I'm gonna still ask him. He's probably listening on the way, so he's probably knows it. But yeah,
Sycamores.
Indiana State, Wright State, North Carolina, and Iowa. I'm gonna go Indiana State, North Carolina, Wright State, and Iowa is my guess.
Not so fast, my friend. The Larry Birds come in at plus 215. Iowa comes in at plus 180. The favorite, the 3 seed here, North Carolina plus 155, and then Wright State way down the line here plus 1400.
Dang, so they're not the host and they're the favorite in the regional.
Yeah, it's very odd. I mean, when you look at it, just seeing the logos and you're like, automatically Iowa, North Carolina stand out to you, and then you're like, Indiana State, I haven't seen that since like the 80s. You know what I mean?
Terry Haute.
Terre Haute.
I got it that time.
Terre Haute.
Terre Haute. Dang it. That's
I
a
was
tough
just running
one.
with it.
H-O-T-E. I'm going to remember that.
Doesn't make sense.
No.
But yeah. Midwest, baby.
That's it. All right, 2 more regionals. You got the Clemson regional for Linda, our controller, Clemson alumni. She ran cross country up there during her day. The Clemson's is playing Lipscomb as we speak in the top of the first, and then later on today you've got Charlotte and Tennessee. I think we can kind of probably guess this one. Clemson, Tennessee, Charlotte, Lipscomb.
100%. Very close at the top. Clemson plus 110, Tennessee plus 115, Charlotte plus 900, and Lipscomb plus 1400.
It was cool to see Lipscomb. We host a Lipscomb tournament, the women's golf tournament at Bay Point. So we've got some kind of weird connections to Lipscomb. So awesome to see them win the ASUN tournament and then get in against a tough regional. And Tennessee, one of the few SEC teams not hosting a regional.
Which another fun fact here: Tennessee is 4-12 on the road this year. And had they hosted this regional, things could be a little bit more safe for them.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And then the last one, you've got the Arkansas, you got the Fayetteville regional, you've got Arkansas, Santa Clara, TCU, and Arizona. Give us the odds on that one, David.
Arkansas minus 154, TCU plus 345, Arizona plus 465, and Santa Clara plus 900. Those odds for TCU looks like the difference in the score from the national championship game.
Yeah. There you go. There you go. Poor Horned Frogs out there. But that's a pretty overall close regional.
It is.
Your 4 seed in that particular regional has some of the lower 4 seed odds that I've heard you say out there. So that could end up being a pretty good one. But you've really got baseball on starting today all the way through the weekend, and then potentially Monday if that final winners bracket series, the winner team ends up losing in that one. So just lots of great baseball, and this is pretty much why you have to have ESPN Plus. If you don't have ESPN Plus, you're really missing out. Max, I know we only got you for a couple more minutes, but want to get your thoughts real quick. SEC schedule came out for the 2024 season yesterday at the meetings over there in Destin. 8 conference games next season, including 1 Power 5 non-conference game. This is just for that season in the 2024 season. They're still open for potentially 9 beyond that. Obviously, in the 2024 season, in combination with those 8 games, they're following the ACC's lead, which has already started for this season coming up. There's not going to be any divisions. They're just going to take the top 2 teams out of that, out of the entire conference, and they'll play in the SEC championship. I know I heard you say soft there earlier, but what are your thoughts on that? Real quick before.
Don't get me wrong. Like, the SEC is the best football conference. Everyone knows that. If you're arguing against that, you're wrong. Look at
real recognizes real.
That's right.
That's coming from Big Ten guys.
However,
However, Stephen A. Smith, that FCS game is the softest thing of all time. Like, I know you play a hard schedule. Everyone plays a hard schedule. You should be playing teams that are in the same realm of competition. You shouldn't be playing teams that are an FCS team. With all respect to FCS teams, playing a team full of 5-star recruits like Bama or Georgia just isn't fair, isn't right. I think, just take the 1-bye game and play 9 conference games like the rest of the country outside the ACC. So
you want to see football die? That's what you're saying?
No, I just don't want to see Alabama playing Samford.
I agree to that to an extent, but a large portion, I would like to believe anyways, a large portion of this is it does help these other programs keep all of their athletics going. So that's the one thing. Maybe they're using it for easy scheduling purposes. If you're Georgia, though, who cares? You just won 2 national championships. Why do we need a tough schedule? Beat us, and then we'll revisit that.
Well, and do you think, too, that, next year is when we start the 12-team playoff, right?
Right.
So do you think that weighed into that decision a little bit of only playing those 8 conference games, which arguably your conference games are tougher, so you're saving a little bit. If you played 9...
But they're not making any extra money from that 9th game, so what's the point?
I was talking more like a fatigue, injury standpoint, and that kind of stuff, because some of these SEC
so many
teams
more
may have to play.
Go with 8 than there is 9. Not the only reason that you would go to 9 if you're the SEC is because other conferences are getting more teams in than you. And until that starts happening, if you're setting the field with 4 to 5 to 6 teams, I don't know if it'll happen like that. But why would you go to 9 games if things are playing out in your favor? And with injuries, oh heck yeah! Why? Would you rather play Samford and play your starters for the first 2, maybe 3 quarters, or would you rather play another conference opponent and it's going to be a knockdown drag out, knockout drag down?
Yeah, but at the same regard, I know it's college, not the pros. The NFL, they're playing 17 games. You're playing, half competitive games then of the NFL. Counterpoint.
But again, it's not the NFL though. And look at college basketball. Look at college.
But
baseball.
all those SEC teams have the facilities to.
They do
make
have
sure
the
everyone's
facilities.
okay.
Yeah,
I'm just playing devil's advocate.
Yeah, I like it. Devil's advocate's good. In NFL, you hear the guys complain all the time too. If you got a Sunday game and you're coming back with a Thursday game, they hate it because they don't have time to get their bodies back.
Which I think is totally fair to complain about.
Yeah, no, definitely. But yeah. So ACC has went to, no more divisions, and their top 2 are going to compete, which is actually, I think, a good thing for Florida State not being in the same division as Clemson anymore. But you've got several teams, Virginia Tech, Virginia, NC State, Clemson, UNC, FSU, and Miami, which is majority of the conference, looking at exploring other options. Do you think now we're on the fast track to the super conferences with all this talk kind of coming?
That's a good question.
It's just everything, all these pieces that keep moving seem to be moving us in that direction.
Yeah, with the TV deals and everything, I think yes, but in my heart, I still want to say no because I love the different conferences are what makes college football so cool and so special. Same with basketball. So I think it is trending that way, and I think everything is pointing that way, but I just hope in my heart it doesn't happen.
Yeah, absolutely.
As long as it just doesn't hurt the Cincinnatis, the UCFs and stuff like that. If it doesn't hurt those squads, if they have a middle, Cincinnati was in the playoff 2 years ago. I just don't want to see that leave. I love all of the different schools. I love like TCU last year, pulling for them for the first 3 minutes of the game.
Maybe 2 minutes and 45 seconds
something like that,
after the 3 and out right off the get-go.
I love the big comp. It's like Kansas City Chiefs versus the New York Jets 4 years ago, and if the Jets win that game, you're like, oh wow, I wasn't expecting that, and I like seeing those upsets.
Yeah, and I think that kind of parity and that opportunity is definitely good for sports, but be interesting to see how it all shakes out. I know we got another break coming up. Max, appreciate you joining us today, and
love your show.
Don't forget to check out, he can get you those interest rates just a little bit lower than everybody else.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely. But yeah, you're listening to the Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. We'll be right back talking the NBA Finals with Doc A.
next.
Where do you think Spoelstra's heading before it's all said and done?
Top 5 all time. Eric Spoelstra has 3 chips. He has 2 chips as a head coach, 1 chip as an assistant coach, and he's been to 6 NBA finals. We'll say from an X's and O's perspective, Eric Spoelstra is a better X and O's coach than Steve Kerr.
Weekday mornings 5 to 7 on 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Good afternoon. This is Joanna with your latest forecast on ESPN Northwest Florida. The remainder of the day, partly sunny and a temperature of 85 with an 8 to 12 miles per hour wind out of the northeast. Clear skies tonight, a light breeze and warm near 72. Mostly sunny and 85 tomorrow. 84 and mostly sunshine with a light breeze Sunday. Monday, mostly sunshine and a temperature about the same at 83. This is your Friday's weather brought to you by Ellis Agency Insurance. Thank you for keeping that dial at ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Game days are always better at Dave & Buster's. That's because more TV inches, more food and drinks, more space, and more fun make the game we all know and love more special. Nothing beats seeing your favorite team take the field on the 2 12-foot big screens or 26 75-inch TVs. Throw in the arcade experience and you've got a winning atmosphere that no other sports bar can deliver. Follow the fun at Dave & Buster's, Panama City Beach on Facebook and Instagram. Eat, drink, play, and watch sports at Dave & Buster's.
At Bay Breeze Bait and Tackle, you can find all the necessary items for an unforgettable fishing experience. From pin rods and reels to the best hand-tied rigs in Florida, we have it all. With the help of our friendly and knowledgeable staff, you can be sure that you have the right gear to make that big catch. Come experience a great local bait and tackle shop located directly off 98 on the west end of Panama City Beach, located just 5 miles west of Pier Park.
We're starting fresh.
Fresh new start.
Locally sourced, Farm to Radio. The Inside Drive with Ryan Mulvey is live and local. From the Bill Kramer Chevrolet Buick GMC and Kramer Marine Outdoor Studios on ESPN Northwest Florida.
And we are back. You're listening to the Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida, sitting inside the Bill Kramer Chevrolet Buick GMC and Kramer Marine and Outdoor Studios. Want to give a big thank you to Max Delighted coming in and helping me out this fun Friday, this beautiful Friday here in the Florida Panhandle. You can listen to us live and local on 104.3 in Panama City, 101.9 along the Forgotten Coast. Also, you can watch our beautiful radio faces on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Just search ESPN Northwest Florida. Visit us at ESPNPC.com. Click that Listen Live button. You can always scroll down to the Tiger TV logo and sign up for $15 a month and get over 6,000 streaming channels there as well. But we're excited to be joined again. We had him on earlier this week. Steve Alexander, Doc A, 22 years writing for Roto World and the NBC Sports, now a contributor and writer for ESPN. Doc, how you doing this morning? Or excuse me, this afternoon.
I am good. I'm good. We've been driving all morning, all day to the beach. So
yeah, you were saying that you got up early and made the trek down, but you going to a different beach, going to those East Coast beaches.
Going to those Georgia beaches.
There you go. Hey, a beach is a beach, but you got to come see us here pretty soon. We got Jay Henley is in the studio, fresh off his junior camp week. And how you doing, Jay?
Good, Ryan. Who do we have on the?
We got Doc A, NBA expert, on the line as we had game 1 last night.
Yeah.
Let's jump right into it. Kind of, we talked about it at the top of the hour on the first hour of the show. Kind of as expected, game 1. Is that fair to say?
I think that's extremely fair to say. That kind of went exactly the way I thought it would go, although I did not see the Miami Heat shooting a total of 2 free throws. That is one of the most incredible stats you'll ever hear from a finals. And then Caleb Martin really was a no-show. Jimmy Butler, kind of a no-show. Bam Adebayo played well, yet he couldn't do anything to slow down Jokic, who just looks like a magician, like a master out there. I don't know how you stop Jokic, because if you double or triple team him, he's such a good passer. He's going to find the open guy every time. He's smart. He doesn't make mistakes. And, it was a clinic, a Denver clinic we saw.
Miami tried to hang in there a little bit, but like you said, and, Jokic just... if he's not scoring, he doesn't have to be the scorer because he's so good at distributing the ball and taking what the defense gives him. And based on what the defense gives him, he's such a smart basketball player. He can make things happen. And, Jamal Murray had 18 points in the first half. Aaron Gordon had 14 points, and Michael Porter Jr. had 10 out of his only total 14. But Jokic only shot the ball 3 times in the first half, Jay, and they were winning. I mean, that's just how complete and solid of a team, the Denver Nuggets are. You had mentioned 2 free throws for the Miami Heat. That is a NBA postseason record for the fewest free throw attempts in a game. Like you said, going to the foul line just twice last night. Do you think that's more that, the refs put up their whistles a little bit, or, what do you think attributes to that?
The Heat just looked tired last night, I thought. They just, I didn't feel like they were ever really in the game. I don't feel like they were being aggressive. I don't feel like they were driving the ball to the rack. They were shooting a lot of threes and missing them. Like I said, Caleb Martin, maybe their most aggressive offensive player, maybe him and Jimmy Butler, and neither one of them really did anything. It was just kind of I think there's a lot of things at work. I mean, Denver's incredibly well rested. We talked the other day about how Coach Mike Malone kind of has a chip on his shoulder. Why are people still talking about the Lakers? We're the ones here. And then you add in the Heat are super tired. Jimmy Butler's ankle probably hurts. They got no rest throughout these playoffs, and the Nuggets have been basically sitting out by the pool for 10 days rehabbing their bodies.
Yeah, that obviously played a huge factor in that first game last night. Which the Heat, the Nuggets, were trying to win their first NBA championship in team history, and Malone seems to really, I don't know if it's just he's just trying to coach. I don't know. You shouldn't have to. I mean, you always have to coach people up, but you shouldn't have to coach up a team in the NBA Finals. But he keeps talking about what the Heat have done. They weren't supposed to beat the Bucks. They weren't supposed to beat the Celtics. They weren't supposed to do all this stuff. You think that's just coaching trying to keep the Nuggets grounded and prepared for every game so they don't look past the Heat to that next game? You think he's just trying to kind of keep that, you said he's got the chip on his shoulder, but just trying to keep his team focused being such an overwhelming favorite in this series?
Yeah, I just think he's not taking anything for granted. And, everybody and their mother thinks that Denver's going to win this series. And after game 1, even more so. Like, Denver answered the call exactly the way they needed to and exactly the way we expected to. So I think Malone, and he's also kind of an old school guy, like, he just doesn't want, he knows this is maybe a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to win an NBA championship. And he wants his guys to know that you can't take this for granted. You can't just expect to walk out there and win. You've got to be scared of the Heat. And he, along those lines, he's right, man. I mean, who saw Miami sweeping Milwaukee? Nobody.
Yeah.
I think getting by the Knicks, I think everybody accepts that's not that crazy of a thing to have happened. But then to win 3 out of 4 games in Boston and take out the Celtics in Game 7, you've got to be scared of the Heat. And Denver just looks better than everybody else that's been in these playoffs. So, but I'm with Coach Malone, man. I'm not taking this for granted, and you have got to respect a team that walked through the East like they did.
Two game break in between the next game, which is going to be at Sunday 6 p.m. Our time, 6 p.m. Central Time, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Do you think I know the finals, especially in NHL, NBA, they add those extra games in there a little bit. Do you think that benefits one team over the other having a couple days rest? I know you said Miami kind of looked tired. The Nuggets have had such a long time to rest. You want to think they want to keep staying at it. The 2 days off in between, who do you think that benefits more going into the second game of the series?
I don't think it really matters. I think Denver's going to dominate game 2 in Denver. I think the altitude, the Denver altitude, is, some people think it's more myth than legend, but I mean, it's real. It's not easy to live at sea level in Miami and then go play in that altitude. So that's not easy. The extra day of rest, I think it probably gives Miami some hope, gives them a little bit of rest. But I think until this series goes to Miami for games 3 and 4, Miami's not going to win game 2.
Gotcha. That was going to kind of be my next question going up. So,
yeah, Doc, I was going to ask you, with the season coming to an end, going back to October, what were some of the who did you have kind of going into the playoffs, back in October? Who was your favorites, back then?
Yeah, of course Boston was on the list. In the West, I actually liked Denver. I was one of those people that thought Nikola Jokic should have won the MVP this year, not Giannis. Because Jokic, until Jokic starts missing games and making mistakes and doing things that he doesn't do, I'm a Jokic guy. So I'm not going to say I had the Denver Nuggets winning it all. I kind of thought the Phoenix Suns were going to be better once they got Durant. Kind of thought the Bucks might be there in the end.
Yeah.
Was never really sold on the Lakers or Warriors this year. These guys are getting old. So those are some of the teams that I thought were going to be there at the end. So I just wish Jokic would have won the MVP. I know Embiid had a great year, Giannis had a great year, but until somebody slows this Nuggets team down, he's the guy.
Yeah.
If they game 2 on Sunday, Nuggets win that game, going back to Miami, and hopefully we could chat a little bit maybe on Monday, try to catch you after each one of these games and get your thoughts and opinions on it. Miami have to win both games at home to have some kind of hope to win this series?
Yeah, most people have this series going 6 games. I've got it going 5. I think Denver's going to win 4-1. I think Miami will get one of those 2 in Miami. I think Denver will get the other one. But I think if Miami's going to win the series outright, they've got to win one at Denver, right? So it's either going to have to be game 2 or game 5 or game 7. So they've got 3 shots to get that done.
And win all their games at home.
I don't think it's looking very good.
Yeah. I think that maybe that magical run coming to an end, but you never know. That's why they got to play the game. That's for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, the way things went with that Boston series, which was the most unpredictable series ever. I could see us talking later and being like, "Wow, Miami really showed up on Sunday night, got it done, didn't they?" But I don't expect that to happen.
Is Nuggets go on to win the series? Jokic a lock for the series finals MVP?
I would assume so, unless something crazy happened. Even last night, it was the Jamal Murray game in the first half. My phone was blowing up. All my buddies are like, "It's the Jamal Murray game." But even with it being the Jamal Murray game, it was still Jokic was the main story. He had the triple-double. I think betting Jokic to average a triple-double in the series was a pretty fun bet and a kind of a smart bet. And so far, we're only 1 game in, but he's managed to do that so far. Yeah, I don't see how he doesn't win the MVP if the Nuggets win.
Yeah, he's a huge favorite right now, -400, and that probably the odds went up a little bit for him to win after that last game. But that's just so crazy, Doesn't even have to have a monster scoring half. Has 3 shots, he makes a couple free throws, and has a good first half. But just other guys, they're just so well rounded, and I don't know how you defend what the Nuggets can do unless they just go cold shooting and the Heat just light up and just have crazy game. I just don't see how they can compete game in and game out with the Nuggets, just based on what last night's game looked like.
And if you look at the box score, Jamal Murray had such a well-rounded box score. Jokic had an incredibly well-rounded box score. Michael Porter Jr. led the team in rebounding. I think he had 13 or 14. Aaron Gordon was good. Like you said, I mean, the Nuggets are not only have the best player in the league right now, but they've also got maybe the deepest team and a really strong bench, and Kentavious Caldwell-Pope and Murray are going to stand out there, knock down wide open threes if they if they double team Jokic, and then you leave Jokic open from the outside, he's going to hit threes too. So I don't know how you stop that team.
Yeah, it's interesting to see how it's all kind of. The Heat's been the story on what they've done, and the Nuggets, not that they weren't the story, but they've just kind of went about their business and took care of things, and it just seems to be kind of going into this series as well.
So, Doc, after Game 7 or whenever the season is over with, and I don't watch a lot of NBA, but what will happen after this season is over with immediately? Will there be a lot of moving and shaking going on in the coaching world, or do you have any predictions on some teams that may be making some crazy moves?
Coaching shakeups are happening right now. I mean, I haven't really been paying attention today, but because I was driving, but. Yeah. I know Woj has been on Twitter dropping bombs, and I know Frank Vogel, I think, is maybe going to Phoenix. I don't know. I haven't had time to look at that. We just got out of the car and jumped on the phone with you guys. But
appreciate you.
As soon as the season's over, everything is just going to calm down and be quiet for a minute, and then the draft is going to happen. I think July 1st is NBA free agency. The draft is going to be the big story because the thing we're going to hear about from now until October is Victor Wembanyama, who's going to be the number one pick in the draft. And I don't know if you guys have watched him play at all, but if you haven't,
insanity.
People listening on the radio haven't checked him out, go to YouTube and just type his name in there and watch some of his highlights. He's incredible. The hype is real. He's going to be the most hyped rookie that we've seen since LeBron James, and some people think he's going to be just as good as LeBron, which that's going to be hard to do because not many people live up to the hype that LeBron lived up to.
Yeah, Doc A, that is going to be tough to live up to the hype. What about the competition that he's playing over there in the French professional league? Is that something to kind of keep an eye on to see how the transition to the NBA works?
Yeah, I mean, they're playing professional basketball, and Luka won a championship when he was 16 years old, and we know how good Luka is. And this kid's playing against. I mean, I've watched some of those games, and he's playing against. I can't think of the kid's last name, but Scooter. Guy's supposed to be a number 2 pick in the draft. I mean, there's talent in Europe, as we see, as evidenced by today's NBA. I mean, it's just full of European talent, and Victor Wembanyama is just one of those guys. And I mean, he's literally like a 7'1" point guard that can play all 5 positions, and it's just going to be. I don't know who's going to be able to stop that guy.
It is going to be interesting. And then one other question, as a Pacers fan, I wanted to know what the offseason looks like for Miles Turner. Will he be a Pacer next year?
We go through that every year, right? I think they signed him this year, extended his contract, and every year they're like, Miles Turner's gone. And I know a lot of my Pacer buddies don't like him. I like Miles Turner.
I do too.
I'm kind of a Miles Turner guy. They've got a decent nucleus. I don't know what the answer is for the Pacers, but I kind of feel like they have decided to ride the Miles Turner train as long as they can. So I think he'll be a Pacer, but anything is possible. It'll be interesting to see what happens once the free agents start signing with teams, and then when teams start making deals. But I think Miles Turner will be a Pacer.
One more question on Wembanyama. Does that make the Spurs, instantaneous? If they take, I mean, that's a stupid if, but when they take him, do you think that makes them an instant kind of, not maybe a finals contender, but completely change the Spurs and how they look and how they're going to do in the upcoming season? Do you think he's an instantaneous kind of guy?
Well, I think that's a great question because Pop is famous. Greg Popovich is famous for, he's the guy that kind of started this whole load management thing with Kawhi Leonard. And I think Pop's a big reason why we see so many guys resting in today's NBA, which is really frustrating to a lot of us old school guys that, are used to Michael Jordan going out there and playing 80 games or whatever. And so there's that. There's the fact that the Spurs earned this pick because they were literally one of the worst teams in sports this year, and they tanked it up, and they got their guy. I don't know if they have enough pieces to become an automatic contender, but it is a popular thing right now to say Victor Wembanyama is good enough to make them a playoff team immediately. So there is that possibility. They've got some good pieces there. And the thing about Wembanyama is he can play anywhere, but we just don't know what Popovich is going to do. Like, is Popovich going to embrace this kid and ride him and let us watch him play every night? Is he going to hold him back and kind of make sure he doesn't get hurt for the first season? We don't know how that's really going to go. But I will tell you, it will be fun. The Spurs are going to be selling a lot of jerseys, and there's going to be a lot of people signing up for the NBA League Pass so they can watch the Spurs play.
Definitely. He's definitely going to move the needle, that's for sure. Hey, Steve, we got a break coming up. I appreciate you taking some time out of your vacation day, driving down to the beach and talking a little NBA with us here on ESPN Northwest Florida. I'll be in touch. That next game's coming up on Sunday, and depending on what happened, would love to get your thoughts again.
Awesome, man. All right, y'all have a great day.
Yes, you have a great weekend. You're listening to the Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. Jay is back, but we've only got one segment left to go. You're listening to ESPN Northwest Florida. We'll be right back.
ESPN Northwest Florida. It's the Coach James Hale Show.
Hi, this is Coach James Hale. Join us this Monday. Dr. Chad Mitchell, the legendary doctor here in Bay County, from 7 to 9, right here on 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. We'll be talking about college football, baseball, softball, you name it. We got it all right here on ESPN Northwest Florida.
Weekday morning 7 to 9, ESPN Northwest Florida.
Everyone loves gold chains. I mean, who doesn't? Gold always works. Tracy's Fine Jewelry inside Coin and Bullion Reserves features the largest selection of 14-karat gold chains, bracelets, pendants, and earrings you'll find anywhere. In fact, more than all the other stores in Bay County combined. And they're all on sale today at Tracy's Fine Jewelry inside Coin and Bullion Reserves. You won't find a larger selection or lower prices anywhere. Gold always works, and you can take that to the bank.
Have you heard about Lashing and Aesthetics by Natalie Mills? They use only professional quality products for all your lash extensions and customized skincare facial needs. Gentle tints for brows and lashes, along with brow laminations, lash lifts, and custom mapping for precise brow waxing. Lashing and Aesthetics by Natalie Mills also does classic lash extensions, hybrid lash extensions, volume lash extensions, lash lifts, and more. For more information, visit them at 1532 Jenks Avenue. Lashing and Aesthetics by Natalie Mills.
Los Rancheros has been doing it right for 20 years. Los Rancheros brings a top-shelf dining experience to you with the opening of their beautiful new building. Watch all college and pro games on Los Rancheros' 14 large-screen TVs with great drink specials daily from 2 to 5 and during all the games. Los Rancheros, the place for live sports and great food on 23rd Street between Jenks and Harrison.
Coming in hot.
So hot.
It'll be a hot one. Really hot. God damn. The Inside Drive with Ryan Mulvey. Live from the Bill Kramer Chevrolet Buick GMC and Kramer Marine Outdoor Studios on ESPN Northwest Florida.
I got broads in Atlanta.
Peace up, A-Town down, right, Jay? You're listening to the Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. Hopefully your junior camp was a success. That was awesome when they called in earlier. Pizza was good?
Yes, it was delicious.
Everybody had a good time?
Everybody had a great time, and everybody, they learned a little something this week, and Michael Shears was amazing. Just talking to the kids about fundamentals and, just talking about how, I was telling the kids about how Wednesday I was watching him hit golf balls in the rain, and that's the dedication it takes to get to where, Michael Shears is today with his golf and all that kind of stuff. So there was a lot of lessons learned this week. I thought it was good.
Well, that's why having a guy like Michael be at these junior camps, and we kind of comparing sports. We did that quarterback camp last week with QB Vision, and hearing a guy that went almost all the way and the dedication. Yeah. And when you hear that from people that are fresh out of it, and sometimes that'll resonate with a lot of kids, and it won't resonate with a bunch of them. But you never know, the one kid in your group that may have that potential to become a Fred Biondi or whatever it may be. And we've talked a lot about this week and what it takes in college golf and how difficult it is. But if you love it and you've got the ability to forget, I think those are two huge things, and that's one thing we really preach in sports when we're coaching is once it's happened, you can either let it destroy you or you can let it define you going forward. And the kids that can let you that define it and get beyond it and then go harder the next time and get past those mistakes, those are the ones you see be very successful, because you got to have that short-term memory. You do. But just a great week out there for you, that's for sure. I know you don't have any camps next week, but then you have one coming up the week after that.
Yeah, that's for ages 7 to 10. I think that that's full currently, but I can create a waiting list if that's something that interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. Golfwithjay.com.
Yep, that's it. Golfwithjay.com, and then next July, or in July, we'll be doing another age 7 to 10 camp and another age 11 to 14, and I don't want to put Michael on the spot, but he did say he would, maybe be around for maybe a couple more. But yeah, I mean, just the feedback from the parents today. I mean, they were like, "Wow, this is cool! Like to have a role model like Michael, that played golf at UGA." And so I know the parents appreciated it, and the kids did too. So shout out to Michael Shears.
Yeah, absolutely. And we had him in studio. I think it was last Friday. Talking a lot about that. So good kid. It's just, love golf. Golf is just such a cool, because you can, people from different generations, they can all connect on a level, which is pretty neat. We were talking a lot about golf earlier. We talked a little bit about the SEC football schedule. I want to get your opinion on it. I'm going to put you on the spot here. So the SEC meetings have been over in Destin this past week, and yesterday it came out that next season, not this season coming up, but the 2024 season, the SEC has confirmed they're only going to be playing 8 conference games. They've talked about maybe playing 9 conference games, but they're going to be playing 8 conference games and 1 Power 5 game outside of that you have to play. Then beyond that, the schedule could be wide open. And not this season, I keep saying next season. Next season is this season. The season in 2024 is the first year of the 12-team playoff, but it's also going to be the first year the SEC gets rid of their divisions. So the West and the East go away. The top 2 teams in the SEC will play in the SEC championship, very similar to what the ACC just did for this season coming up here, 2023. What are your thoughts on that? SEC just keeping those 8 games. We talked about it a little bit before. SEC, brutal football, arguably the best conference, in college football. And, for them, for an SEC stake, if you go to the playoffs, you're going to have to play more games now. That 9th conference game could bring a lot of things into it. And David made some great points, too. When you've got these teams that you're scheduling, these FCS teams or these lower, group of 5 conference teams, you're providing money to that university and helping sports and stuff like that. But what are your thoughts on the 8 games versus bumping up to 9? And the whole reason this was talked about
next season, not this season.
The 2024 season is because Texas and Oklahoma will be coming into the SEC in the 2024 season, which originally they were going to come in 2025, and that kind of got fast-tracked. So the SEC had to do this 1 year of scheduling for 2024, and they announced it yesterday.
So we're talking 8 SEC games,
8 conference matchups,
matchups,
and then they have to have 1 non-conference Power 5 matchup as well. But you've got Texas and Oklahoma coming into the SEC that year. So that's where people were like, are we going to add another SEC game?
Yeah.
So they'll make sure those traditional rivalries are still being played, but then in the 2025 season, it all kind of starts over
with
again.
The 12-game playoffs.
12-game playoffs in 24.
Yeah.
But 25, they haven't made the schedule yet. They haven't committed to anything SEC-wise yet. But I
don't know. I mean, I do like converging the SEC. I mean, in my opinion, I know I'm SEC kind of all the way, but, I guess we're still going to beat up each other. It sounds like, that doesn't solve that problem. I don't think, does it?
No, I don't think that problem ever goes away unless we talked about earlier creating the super conferences.
Right.
But and then at that point, everybody's going to be beating each other up.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think it'll be good to see kind of, where everyone kind of falls in the lineup. The scheduling has seemed to have kind of changed since COVID. I know my Dogs were typically used to play in Auburn the second week in November. That's, not happening anymore. Florida's still the same. But, yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I'm excited. I'm ready for football. What are we, 97 days away now? 96 days away?
Maybe a little. NCAA is a little bit earlier. I think somewhere in that 94, 95, 96. I want to say NFL, that first Thursday night game is like 97 days away. So, okay. And college could be a little bit closer to 90, that's for sure.
Yeah. I got to sleep 90 more times, Ron. 90 more times.
And hopefully we all sleep 90 more times.
There you go. That's right. That's right.
And be able to watch some football, that's for sure. We were talking about the college softball earlier, and Florida State got the win last night, 8-0 over Oklahoma. That Utah-Washington game is underway now after they got basically weathered out last night and weren't able to play. So the winner of that game is going to have to play, or loser of that game is going to have to play a doubleheader tonight. And Washington is currently losing 1-0 in the bottom of the second. But those Florida State Seminoles and the Oklahoma Sooners, Stanford played Oklahoma really tough yesterday. They only won. They only lost. Stanford only lost 2-0. Oklahoma won 2-0. Oklahoma's only lost one game this year, and that was to Florida State. If this bracket all kind of shakes out and Oklahoma ends up coming out of the first bracket and Florida State comes out of that second bracket, could have an epic championship series coming up with Oklahoma and Florida State next week. So a lot of great action there. We were talking about the baseball coming up. The Memorial Tournament, still some similar names at the top. Like we said, Hideki Matsuyama shot a 65, -7 today on that golf course, which is pretty darn sporty for how difficult it is.
Why is it that the Memorial Tournament doesn't finish on Monday of Memorial Day? Or is there a resemblance there, or do we not? No, I
don't know. You're going to come at me with that kind of question about the naming of this tournament.
Yeah, I mean, it should finish on Memorial Day.
Well, the Memorial Tournament, that could be memorializing something completely different than our men and women who fought for. So we could talk about why the Memorial Tournament is named the one. We'll have that answer on Monday.
I like it.
We'll find out. Dave, don't worry about that one. We'll figure out why the Memorial is named the Memorial between now and Monday morning. But haven't seen Hideki Matsuyama's name up there in a little while. And then you got this guy, David Lipsky. I haven't really heard too much about him, but he shot a pair of 3 under 69, so he's currently tied for second. Patrick Cantlay, we were talking about him a little earlier. He ended up shooting 67, -5 today. Only took him 5.5 hours to do, but he did birdie his last hole. We talked about when he was through 17, so he's only a stroke back. And then Rory McIlroy, we were talking with Max earlier about Rory. He shot 68 today, so he's got himself at -4, only 3 strokes back of Hideki Matsuyama. And then Sepp Straka, we talked about him with Keith and everybody on Wednesday.
We did.
He shot 1 under par yesterday, followed it up with a nice 69 3 under par today, so he's -4 for the tournament. Hopefully he can hang in that top 5 spot, because I got a couple bets there with Sepp finishing fairly high. So great fun tournament to watch, because golf is a little bit tougher up there at Jack's Place. Just a difficult golf course to play. Elevated greens, tight or long rough, all that.
Did you see hole 14 yesterday? It's the par 4 that's got it's a little dogleg, right? But there's a lake in the bottom, like the right-hand corner, and they had that pin tucked right next to that lake. And I know the guys had probably about 140 in, but it was so cool watching those guys hit like wedges into that tuck pin. And 14 is such a great hole, and that's what I like about some of the. Nicklaus does a good job, in my opinion, Ryan. I don't know if you agree with me on this or not, but
we do have a Nicklaus design golf course at Bay Point, so I'm not gonna dog him.
Yeah. Right, but think about hole 10, 11, 12, 13 at Bay Point. It's a short par 4, but man, you got to, that approach shot has to be on the money.
Oh yeah,
and
very similar to 14 at the Memorial, like you were talking about. Not a long hole.
It's very similar.
It's only 360, but you've got to be very precise, and that's why I like 13 at Bay Point, because you can go for it, but you have to either land it short right, because you got water all around the green and on the backside. And especially when that pin's on that left side of the green, if you tug it, I've seen so many people just tug it just a little bit, ends up in that water. And this is the question question I wanted to revisit today, unless you got something, David. Okay, it looked like David had to say he was getting excited about 13. Max, we were talking about Ryder Cup, a lot of Ryder Cup stuff, and we were talking about alternate shot, and David had some awesome questions about alternate shot. But Max put me on the spot and said, what would you and me shoot in a true alternate shot? And I said we'd be hard-pressed probably to shoot even par. I want to get your thoughts on that. True alternate shot, not modified where we both tee off and select.
I've never played golf with Max, so I don't know. Or have you?
Neither one of you guys are doing that. You're playing with each other in this
Listen to the question, Jay.
I thought
you and me were playing a true alternate shot together, what would we shoot?
Week.
I know.
I'll give you Max to this equation.
I'll give you a pass on that. You've been dealing with kiddos all week. That's
okay.
For sure.
So me and you, alternate shot.
True alternate shot. We're going out there and playing. Let's say we've been playing golf, one time a week for the last 2 months.
Yeah,
we'll call that.
I'm taking the over on 72.
Yeah. Going over 72.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And because you hit a couple out of bounds for me, and we had to drop 3 off the tee. Is that why?
3 off the tee. New podcast coming soon.
Yeah, there you go. There's 2 off the tee. We'll add 3 off the tee.
Yeah.
So I mean, and then I said, okay, if we did a modified alternate shot where you both tee off and select the best drive, what do you think there? I'd probably say if we're selecting the best drive on every hole, I think we could probably get 68, 69 in there.
Absolutely.
A whole different ball game,
and that's a shamble, I think, or another modified.
Yeah, a shamble. Not to get into the details, a shamble I think is when everybody tees off, you select best drive, and then you play your own ball from there.
That's right.
Versus a modified alternate shot, you both tee off, we select your drive. I hit, we alternate until the balls hold out.
I say we shoot 70. I would take the even on that. I wouldn't take the under, but I would take the even
par.
Yeah.
And then go ahead, David.
Well, we asked Ryan too, whose drive is getting used the most?
Ooh,
his for sure. If we do a modified alternate shot, if he's putting us out there in the fairway nice and safe, I can go for it.
Yeah.
Then we don't know, because if he gets me something out there good, I can swing away and have some fun. But yeah. And then it led to us saying we're going to do me, Max. It's not, we don't have our teams yet, but you and me, and then David and Max, and we'll pair up and do a scramble between the two of us and play match play all the way around. And we'll
be
stream
cool.
it live on Facebook. We got to make that happen sooner than later. That's for sure.
Yeah.
That would certainly be a good time.
Yeah.
For sure.
I'm ready for that. You tell me.
Yeah, you're sitting on go. Yeah, we only got 40 seconds left on the show today. I know Jad made you come out, and we had Dr. A, and then we only had about 10 minutes in this segment.
It's all good.
It was awesome that the kids called in. It's been a fun Friday. A big shout out to Max Delighted for coming in and hanging out in studio with us. Again, we are live and local on 104.3 in Panama City, 101.9 along the Forgotten Coast. David Hayes and the Afternoon Underdogs will be on this afternoon at 4 p.m. Don't forget about the Bay Breeze Bait and Tackle segment every 4:20. You got to get your fishing report. The weather's going to be great. You got to get out there on the water. Come visit us at Bay Point Golf Club. Jay, enjoy the weekend. Maybe take a couple days off after this week. You're listening to the Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida.
ESPN Northwest Florida is already your home for the most live and local sports talk. And now we're taking...
Oh, he got all of that one.
The Inside Drive. Ryan Mulvey.